A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Richard Widmark in tonight's presentation of Suspense. Tonight, as Suspense begins its 11th year on the air, Autolite presents the dramatic recreation of an exciting historical event, A Message to Garcia. Our star, Mr. Richard Widmark.
Hello, Harlow. How was your vacation?
Swell, Hap, and I never had to fill my battery once.
Hey, you must have an Autolite stay full, Harlow.
You know it, Hap. The famous battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
How are you feeling, Harlow?
As alive and alert as an Autolite Stay Full, the battery that's full of pep and ready to work in a wink. Fiberglass retaining mats protect every positive place to reduce shedding and flaking and give the Autolite Stay Full longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
And where did you vacation, Harlow?
Why, at my Autolite battery dealers, of course. He's an expert on servicing all makes of batteries. To quickly locate him, call Western Union by number and ask for Operator 25.
I'll gladly tell you the name of your nearest Autolite battery dealer, where you can get an Autolite Stay Full, the battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite. And now, Autolite presents transcribed A Message to Garcia, starring Mr. Richard Widmark, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
In 1898, down Havana way, the battleship Maine in the harbor did lay. One February night there was a terrible boom. 260 sailor boys met their doom. The Spaniards said, we are not to blame. The Americans cried, remember the Maine. The insults flew very thick and fast, till obviously the peace couldn't last. On the island of Jamaica were some brave Cuban men, so Lieutenant Andrew Rowan was sent to see them. Once upon a time, long ago, Lieutenant Andrew Rowan went to see them.
Oh, Rowan, over this way. I was just beginning to wonder if you'd gotten lost.
Hello, Mr. Carter.
Sit down. Thank you. I took the liberty of ordering you a drink before dinner. Best rum in Jamaica.
Thanks. Well, this looks like quite a place.
American consul's job to see that tourists are introduced to interesting places and to point out interesting people. This is a sort of diplomatic hangout. Oh, that's the German consul over there and the Spanish charge d'affaires at that table.
I see.
The only other person you should know is the man sitting by himself near the window. He's Cuban, an exiled patriot. His name is Dr. Jose Rubio. Now, pick up your menu.
I've got a good look. He's the one?
I'm not positive, but everything I've found out points to Rubio. It'll take more time to make sure.
How much more time?
Another 2 days at least.
Then the quick way to make sure is to talk to him.
The quick way, yes, but... Huh? Of course, that's up to you.
How do I reach him?
474 Perch Street. Just be careful. Everyone knows Jamaica's the jumping-off place for Cuba. The Spanish could be watching him, too.
Thanks, Mr. Carter. And if we don't see each other again, cable Washington. I'm on my way.
Oh, the Spaniard's leaving. He'll walk past us.
I guess he liked his dinner. He looked quite satisfied.
Maybe he's had good news. He's usually a poker face. Anyway, I hope he gets heartburn.
Jamaica was the edge of it. My desk in the War Department back in Washington seemed a million miles away. It had taken 2 days to sift through the Cubans in Jamaica and come up with Dr. Rubio. When it got dark, I left my tourist hotel and I went to Perch Street. I hadn't had time to feel scared. I knew my orders weren't simple, but it began to catch up to me now.
Yes?
Dr. Jose Rubio?
Yes?
My name is Rowan, sir.
American?
Yes, sir. May I speak to you privately?
Won't you come in? I hope you will pardon this clutter of papers about the room. My work habits are not decided yet.
You're alone? Can we be overheard?
Overheard? No.
Good. These are my credentials.
Andrew Rowan, Lieutenant, United States Infantry.
I've been sent here to contact you. I have information that you work for the freedom of Cuba, that you maintain certain relations with the Cuban guerrilla forces fighting the Spanish. General Garcia's forces.
Lieutenant Rowan, I am a doctor of philosophy. Jamaica is a British possession. The British frown on such activities.
Yes, I understand, sir, but this is urgent. Is there a way a man could be sent to Cuba? To General Garcia?
If such a thing were possible, why would it be so urgent?
Well, I'll say it plainly, Doctor. We've got to know the strength of the Spanish, what supplies General Garcia needs, and if he'll cooperate with an American army of invasion.
Invasion?
Yes, sir. A declaration of war between the United States and Spain is very close.
When?
A week, 10 days. The information General Garcia has will govern the whole strategy of our Army and Navy.
You should have come a long time ago, Lieutenant, when the cause of Cuban independence first needed help.
Maybe so, sir, but I don't make policy.
I will tell you truthfully. I do not know what assistance I can be. The Spanish have suddenly become very strong. They use this new force to press General Garcia relentlessly.
Well, if you could get me to him, sir, I'm sure
I want to get you to him, Lieutenant. I have received no word from Cuba in 6 weeks. I am not sure where General Garcia is. I'm not sure even that my communications are still secret.
Is there any proof that they're not?
No, unless silence is proof. I want to help you, Lieutenant, but you must know the risk to me, to you, to General Garcia.
I'm ordered to get to the general, sir. If you're the only way...
You like to fish, Lieutenant?
How's that, sir?
Fish. Out to sea in a boat. I have a friend who knows all the best fishing places between here and Cuba.
Oh, yes, sir. I like to fish.
When can you be ready?
I'm ready now, sir. How about tonight? It takes 36 hours for a fishing boat to cross to Cuba. I burned my identification papers and we left the house. The night was warm. There was a moon and the streets were empty. We walked toward the waterfront and Dr. Rubio told me all he could.
The place you will land is called Gran Rincon. Just into the jungle is a house. Perhaps I make difficulties in my own mind, but since I have no word...
The Spanish know this place?
That is the reasonable assumption, I'm afraid.
Well, back in Washington, they told me it wouldn't be easy.
6 weeks ago, it would have been a simple matter. The insurrectors held this part of the coast. Garcia would have been easy to reach.
Where are the lines now?
The hills, the jungle, to the east is all I can tell you.
At Gran Rincon. The people there will know...
If there is word from the general. Only one thing you can be sure of. Where the guns are firing, that is where you will find Jalisco Garcia.
Where the guns are firing.
We go this way now, across the plaza.
Right.
The third fishing boat. That is my friend.
Even if you couldn't see it, you could smell it.
Gervasio! Gervasio!
I'm here. Wait. Dr. Rubio. Gervasio. The dogs have business tonight.
Can you tell?
As long as there's wind. That man.
To Gran Rincon.
Rincon.
I will take him there.
But sure.
It is urgent. It must be done. He is American. His country sent him to Garcia for Cuba Libre.
Americano, come aboard.
Thanks.
Goodbye, Lieutenant. And success.
This is my first trip to Cuba, Doctor. I'll have beginner's luck. Gervasio hoisted the big single sail. It caught the wind easily, an ordinary fisherman on an ordinary sea. But I remembered what Carter had said. Everyone knows Jamaica's the jumping off place. And there was a moon. The dock dropped behind us, and Rubio's white suit faded into the dark. I felt the boat take the main swell of the ocean. And then something caught my eye.
There's not much of comfort on this boat. What do you look at?
That light at the edge of town, the way it blinks.
Huh? The shimmer of the air.
I watched it. Maybe it was my eye, but the blink seemed more than just a shimmering in damp night air. Then it went out. And somewhere behind us. Gervasio, you hear it?
A steam launch. Supply boat for one of the plantations. You sleep. I will sail.
I stretched out on a pile of fish nets and I listened. The sound disappeared in the night. And we were alone on an empty sea. The morning of the second day, Cuba began to grow on the horizon. By late afternoon, we were close inshore, sailing eastward. I watched the jungle. It looked cool and comfortable. There was no sign of war.
Americano.
What is it, Gervasio?
Watch this sail. I come about now. You're in Cuba, Americano.
Thanks, Gervasio. Aha, it feels good.
There's a path that leads into the jungle.
I see it.
Then I leave you quickly. Spanish patrol boats hide in the coast.
Thanks.
It is all for one, Americano. Cuba Libre.
Our eyes held for a moment, then I pushed the boat away from the dock. She caught the wind and curved outward. And then I felt the nakedness of standing there, and I started toward the jungle. My imagination was very good, and I was sure that 1,000 eyes were watching me. I looked for some movement, something, somewhere ahead, and I reached the cool, vaulted overhang of the first trees. There was a house. I walked toward it. Hello. Anybody here? Hello. Is anybody...
Put up your hands.
What?
Put up your hands.
Look, I'm not armed. You don't need that gun.
For 3 years I carry a gun. I will decide if I need it.
I was told the people at this house would help me.
Help you how? Who told you this?
Dr. Jose Rubio.
Coming in.
Teresa. Who is it, Teresa?
He says Rubio sent him.
Rubio? I watch you come from the boat. You wear plain clothes, but you walk like a soldier. How do I know you come from Rubio?
If you'll let me put my hands down, maybe I could prove it.
Teresa?
Do it slowly, soldier.
Now, here, look. These coins. This one's British, Jamaica. And this one's American. You see, United States of America. And on this side, Liberty.
You are American, no?
Yes.
Why does Rubio send you?
To see your general, Calixto Garcia.
Garcia? Garcia was leaving from this part of the country 6 weeks ago.
Can you take me to him?
Take you?
Yes.
There are many Spanish between here and Garcia.
Now, look, believe this or not, the United States will land an army to help Garcia if you can get me to him.
You know nothing of this kind of war.
Well, I'm here to learn, to help you. I can't help unless I get to Garcia as quickly as possible.
We would need horses.
Oh, don't coming in.
This man needs the help. Cuba needs the help.
Good, good. Where do we get horses?
The Spanish are them all. We take from the Spanish.
I go with you.
You?
I do not stay here alone.
Well, yes, but I can't. Well, what I mean is that we...
Because I am a woman? You know nothing of this kind of war.
The sun was almost down when we left, and the jungle had filled with shadows. I walked between them. Dominguez in front, Teresa behind. Dominguez carried a machete. He hacked at the jungle in front of us expertly. If we were going in any definite direction, I couldn't tell.
Americano, do you have a name?
My name is Rowan.
And like Garcia, you are the general of this army of yours?
No, the general sent me. I'm a lieutenant.
Teniente. I was a capitan.
Well, where'll we find these horses?
The jungle ends soon. There is a valley. The Spanish have a remuda of cavalrymen.
Wait. Look, this guy behind us.
Fire.
They're burning the house.
Who is it?
Spanish. You are not so secret, Americano. I know you are here.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Richard Widmark in A Message to Garcia. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Well, Harlow, I guess everybody needs a vacation.
Not the Autolite Stay Full battery, Hap. That energetic instigator gives quick, dependable starts day in and day out in heat and cold, and needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
And the Autolite Stay Full leads a long life and a happy one, eh, Harlow?
Yes, sir, Hap. Fiberglass retaining mats protect every positive plate to reduce shedding and flaking, and give that Autolite Stay Full longer life, as proved by tests conducted according to accepted life cycle standards.
Best battery money can buy, right, Harlow?
Right, Hap. So, friends, to your nearest Autolite battery dealer and have him test your battery. If you need a new battery, be sure you get an Autolite Stay Full. The battery that says right on the case, needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use. You can quickly locate your nearest Autolite battery dealer, phone Western Union by number, and ask for Operator 25.
I'll gladly tell you the name of your nearest Autolite battery dealer.
And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite. And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Richard Widmark in Elliot Lewis's production of A Message to Garcia. Dramatic recreation well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Who is it?
Spanish. This way. Here. Stop your wreck. Teresa.
I'm all right.
We hide here before. They won't find us.
No estar aquí. Mejor regresar a la casita.
They think they're shooting at us off there.
Rowan,
Yeah?
you sure you are not the general of your army? You seem to be very important to them.
I don't understand. How could they have found out about
About
the
you? The Spanish are more clever than you think.
Yes. I'm very sorry about the house.
In this war, a burning house is nothing.
We waited there as the sun set. It was the first contact with Spanish war. They knew I was in Cuba. They were looking for me, and they were strong. What safety there was would be in the night. Finally, the shadows combined into a velvet black curtain. Dominguez listened to the sounds in the jungle and said it was safe to go. We left the jungle in another mile and came out in the valley. Then we walked along a dirt road until Dominguez stopped. There was the smell of horses in the damp night air.
It's just through those trees. Teresa, wait for us.
Give me the gun, Teresa.
No gun. There are only a few cars. If it is necessary, I use the machete.
She'll be all right?
Teresa? She can take care of herself.
Saddled and ready to go.
Presents from the King of Spain. You take yours. I will lead Teresa's.
Oh, boy. Let me quick. What? A soldier.
Here. Let me drag him out of the way.
Right.
Wait. Get the horses.
Yes.
You learn about the war?
Yes, I learned.
Easy, boy. Easy.
We rode for 3 nights through burned cane fields, jungle, and the tall Cuban grass. Garcia had done a lot of retreating in 6 weeks. Then on the 4th morning, just before daybreak, Dr. Rubio's words came back to me. Where the guns are firing, that's where you'll find Calixto Garcia.
I cannot see where they are shooting.
Just so long as it isn't in this direction.
To enter where I am, we must cross the field. No more jungle to hide us.
Is Garcia there in the town?
I think so, yes.
Then we've got to go. We bent low and raced for the town. And as soon as we rode into the open, the Spaniards saw us. Little puffs of dirt kicked up all around us. I felt as if the town would never get close. And then finally...
Ha-ha! We make it. Welcome to Bayamo.
You people.
Hello.
You crazy? You never should have made it across that field.
Well, we didn't have much choice. I want to see General Garcia.
You want to fight, I will give you guns.
This man is Americano. He is sent by his generals to see ours.
Americano. All right, Americano. You come with me.
If that is the situation, what are you waiting for, Mendoza? Send your men to the front position. Gomez, I want a report on the ammunition. They told me I should make time for you. You are American. You want to see me.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Rowan, United States Infantry.
You have aroused the whole Spanish army. Did you have to bring them with you?
My orders were to get to you, sir. I'm instructed to tell you that the United States is prepared to enter the war against Spain. The War Department requests your knowledge of the Spanish army and wishes to know if you will cooperate with our forces.
The destruction of your battleship, is that it?
That, sir, and the Spanish treatment of your people.
When will this war be declared?
It might be already declared. When I left Washington, they told me the Spanish would declare on us or we on them in a week to 10 days.
And that is why the Spanish drive me so hard. To destroy the insurrectos quickly so you will have no base. I will need supplies before your army gets here. Guns, ammunition, food. I need them quickly.
They'll be sent to you, sir.
The guns, Lieutenant. What kind will you send?
Our standard guns, sir.
Then I will show you something. Can they compare with this?
Mauser. It's German.
And it fires a clip. 5 shots by working the bolts. A man does not have to reload by hand.
And our guns fire single shots.
Each man who has one is made into 2. The Spanish are armed with Mausers.
Well, we don't have anything like it.
Then send me your automatic guns, the Colt, the Gatling, and make many more. Tell your generals they come to no simple war.
Yes, sir. I see. May I take this with me?
Take it and get to your generals quickly. General Sanchez?
General.
I want you to escort Lieutenant Rowan as quickly as possible to the north. See that he leaves the shores of Cuba safely.
Si, General Garcia.
I trust you are the forefront of your army, Lieutenant. For Cuba Libre.
Colonel Sanchez took me to food. And again there was the waiting for the night. I watched the Mauser in action, and the Spanish knew how to use them. It was no simple war. As the shadows began to lengthen, the fighting died down. Sanchez picked 3 men, and we started north. There was luck, and we reached the ocean in 2 days.
The boat is not much, but at least it does not leak.
Thanks, Sanchez.
With the good wind, you should make the British island of Inagua tomorrow. We will be waiting for your army.
It'll be here. Cuba Libre.
The winds were fair as he sailed all night. The sea was friendly to the Cuban flight. He reached Inagua safe and sound, and was soon on another boat homeward bound. The generals were told what he had to say, and it all brought the victory of Cuba Libre.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Richard Widmark, will return in just a moment. This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite, the world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. In 28 plants from coast to coast, Autolite makes over 400 products for cars, trucks, tractors, planes, boats, and industry. These products include batteries, such as the famous Autolite Stay Full, ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs, both standard and resistor types, Autolite starting motors, generators, coils, distributors, voltage regulators, wire and battery cable, and Autolite original service parts for all Autolite electrical systems. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry. So, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite. And now I'd like to present Richard Widmark and our producer-director, Elliot Lewis.
Thank you, Harlow. Dick, I'm happy to inform you that for the second consecutive year, you've been voted Autolite's Golden Mike Award for the best male performance of the year on Suspense. Congratulations, and here, this is for you.
Thanks very much, Elliot. That's a very handsome trophy. And now, if I may, I'd like to tell your audience that next week, the First Lady of Suspense, Agnes Moorehead, will star in a very special show called The Empty Chair. It salutes the American Automobile Association and its wonderful traffic safety program. I highly recommend that all of you listen next week to Suspense.
Suspense is produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by René Garrigank and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Portions of this program were transcribed. A Message to Garcia was adapted for Suspense by Richard Chandley. Featured in tonight's cast were Anthony Barrett, Joseph Kearns, Lillian Baez, Jack Crucian, Ted DeCorsia, and Edgar Barrier. Our singer was Ernest Newton. Richard Widmark appeared through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, producers of the Technicolor production The Robe in CinemaScope. No special glasses needed. World premiere in New York, September 16th, in Los Angeles on the 24th. And remember, next week, Miss Agnes Moorehead in The Empty Chair. This is the CBS Radio Network. Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Miss Agnes Moorehead in tonight's presentation of Suspense.
Tonight, Autolite salutes the American Automobile Association and its traffic safety program as we present a dramatic report called The Empty Chair. Our star, the First Lady of Suspense, Miss Agnes Moorehead.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for the worldwide Autolite family. Since 1922, the American Automobile Association, with the cooperation of 276 affiliated clubs, has been active in helping schools develop educational programs designed to protect children on their way to and from school and to make them careful drivers upon graduation. Traffic safety is, as you know, everyone's business.
So our story tonight will dramatize how we all can help ourselves and our children by driving carefully and by cooperating with traffic safety instructions. Later in the program, we will hear from Mr. Royce G. Martin, chairman of the board and president of the Electric Autolite Company, and Mr. Ralph Thomas, president of the American Automobile Association.
And now, Autolite presents transcribed The MC Chair, starring Miss Agnes Moorehead, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
Now, are we all settled down? That's good. Miss Barbara Warner. You may call me Miss Barbara or Miss Warner, either one, which gives you young ladies and gentlemen at least two choices when you wish to attract my attention, so that there'll be no need to yell out, "Hey, teacher." Besides, 10B3. 10B3 at your homeroom. High school at last. And today's the first day. Young ladies and gentlemen, truly, and today's the day it really starts. So now let's get to know each other, shall we? All of you will get up and go to the back of the room, please. I have your study cards here, and I've arranged them alphabetically. We'll start with the first row and the first seat, and as I call your names, you'll be seated. Sidney Aronson, Mary Avanti, right in back of Sidney. Yes, that's right. David Coop, George Darley. Just a minute, George. Leave an empty seat. Jessica Bromley, and then skip one, and then you, George. An empty seat for David Cooper. For now.
How'd you like that, Miss Warner?
Bobby.
What?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Don't worry about a thing, Miss Warner. Home. And how'd you like your ride?
Well, I'm glad it's over.
And I was just getting a compliment ready for you.
Oh, you were?
I've never had a teacher in my car before.
And?
I wanted to see how one of them would react to going 65 miles an hour.
Nearly 70, Bobby, and in a residential section, too.
Just for the last 6 blocks, Miss Warner. I was going to say how I was surprised you didn't scream at me or get hysterical. I was going to say I'm glad, since you're that kind of person, I'm glad you're going to board with my mother and me.
Now you're sorry about the whole thing.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I'm a good driver, Miss Warner.
Yes, I'm sure you are.
And this is a good car.
Yes, it's beautiful.
You mean it?
Yes, of course I do, Bobby. But what about school, the traffic classes, and the sessions on safety?
What about them?
Well, didn't they impress you? Most of the boys and girls learned to drive through school classes, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And reaction times, you were taught about those, and how no one's reaction time is really fast enough to cope with an emergency at high speed. You drive as if you'd forgot all about that as soon as you walked out of class.
And you sound like
Bobby! Miss Warner!
Oh, that's my mother.
Well, what are you two out here for? Come on in. I've got tea made. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Miss Warner. I wasn't sure when you'd arrive.
Mrs. Morrison, mother of Bobby, a woman in her 40s perhaps, or younger, in a plain cotton house dress that hung loosely about her, and her hands were almost delicate and quite thin and worn. And her fingers quickly, nervously pushed strands of graying hair tied against her temples, and on her face the trace, and not yet deep, of lines of strain.
Don't let Miss Warner carry her bag herself, Bobby. You take it. Now take it to her room. Bobby.
And then her touch on my arm, and Mrs. Morrison led me into her house, into her home, and showed me the living room, neat, sparingly furnished, and said that I was welcome to use it any evening for my guests if I just let her know beforehand. She would arrange to go to a movie or call on a neighbor. Just let her know beforehand. And the kitchen, and where she kept the toaster and the coffee canister and the sugar and the other things I'd need for breakfast or a snack, whenever I pleased. She didn't mind a bit. And then my room.
I had Bobby fix up the little radio on your bed table. I thought it might be nice.
A pleasant room. A summer blanket neatly folded at the foot of the bed. A A window open to a small wire-fenced vegetable garden. A desk, a chair, a pleasant room. Unpack now and change and lie down and rest. Listen to the radio. Windows.
Lay off me, Ma. Leave me alone. Just lay off me, do you hear?
And waken then to summer evening and to something more harsh.
I'm fed up, Ma. Fed up. Do I reach the eyes of getting through to you?
Listen to me, Bobby.
I've had it listening to you, Ma.
Bobby, she'll hear you. Miss Warner will...
Let her hear. You hear me, Miss Warner? You listening real good? Hey, Warner, wake up. Hit the deck. Wake up and get an earful.
All right. We'll do that, Bobby. We'll let Miss Warner listen so you won't have to yell at her. Miss Warner? Miss Warner?
Yes?
Would you come out, please? I want you to... Would you please?
Yes, Mrs. Martin. Good evening, Bobby.
You flip or something, Ma?
My son was yelling and screaming at his mother and then at you. And he said he didn't care if you heard. Go on, Bobby. Tell me and tell Miss Warner how fed up you are with your mother.
I told you, Ma. Just lay off me.
You've had experience, haven't you, Miss Warner? With boys like Bobby and the others he runs around with. They must confide in you and tell you their things that they won't tell their mothers. That their mothers can't possibly understand or know or share. You're younger and more experienced. And they must. Bobby?
You're getting it blow by blow, Miss Warner. You stick with Ma and me, and you'll get it every night all the night. Where are you going tonight, Bobby? Who will you be with tonight, Bobby? Where'll I find you if I need you, Bobby? If you need me, Bobby? Look, I'm 17. And there's a joint that's got a jukebox in it. And girls with pockets full of dimes. And me, I got a car. Hot, real hot. You and the high school teacher here, Ma, you put your heads together. And maybe it'll come out mathematical where your baby boy is nice.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Warner. Forgive it, please.
Oh, don't mention it.
No, I want to tell you about my boy. He's had no father since he was 8. When he was 13, Bobby got some work around the garage after school. It helped. It helped out a lot. And I was glad to see it. He loved working around motors. And, well, you saw that car he built. A boy 17 to have built such a car.
Mrs. Morrison.
Yes?
Have Bobby ever told you about Mr. Douglas?
I don't think so.
He's a teacher at our school, a manual arts teacher.
No.
He takes special interest in boys like Bobby. He's also our driver education teacher, we call him. He works with the boys and girls, and the local automobile club helps him.
Sometimes I just think my son is wild, that's all.
Well, that's just what I'm telling you. Mr. Douglas teaches safety and sanity in driving. He tries to tell the young people...
Mrs. Morrison! Hey, Mrs. Morrison!
Oh, hello, David. Come in. Oh, David, this is Miss Warner. She teaches at the high school where you're going to go this year. Miss Warner, this is David Cooper, a neighbor boy.
Hi, Miss Warner.
Hello, David. I'm glad to know you.
Me too. Where's Bobby, Mrs. Morrison?
He's not here, David.
Oh, out in the garage, huh? Working on that super neat job of his, I'll bet.
I don't think so.
Well, where'd he go, Mrs. Morrison?
I don't know.
He promised me. He promised me for sure this time.
Promised you what, David?
Well, he said next time he was in a race, I could ride with him. And I know there's one tonight. He welches out on me. But, well, he's the best, Mrs. Morrison. Real absolute best. Why, he's got all those other
How
nice
old are you, David?
Huh?
I asked how old you were.
13. What's that got to do with it? Bobby promised me. He said I was old enough now for him to break me in. Well, good night, Mrs. Morrison. Miss Warner.
David's our neighbor boy. Not many years ago, I used to babysit for his mother. Read to him, he and Bobby. Could I fix you something to eat, Miss Warner?
And here, this picture was taken at Lake Louise, too. You can hardly tell I'm the one in the middle, can you? The way Miss Reba and I dressed up there.
Oh, it must have been very expensive.
Oh, and restful. I got a lot of reading done, and I've been promising myself to get... Oh, sit still, Mrs. Morrison. I'll get it. Good evening.
Good evening. Does this young man belong here?
Yes, he does, officer. Please come in.
Who is it?
Now, don't get excited, Mom.
Oh.
I said don't get excited.
Are you Mrs. Morrison?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm Officer Cleaver. The only reason your son isn't in juvenile court right now is because, as far as I know, it's the first time he's pulled a trick like he did tonight.
Well, what are you talking about?
In his car. Him and another one, speeding down Presbury Street. Your son headed north and the other one south. Headed toward each other. Front wheels on the white dividing line to see who'd give way. Going over 70 miles an hour.
Oh, Bobby.
Who the other kid was, I don't know, ma'am. I can only catch one of them. Him.
Autolite is bringing you Miss Agnes Moorehead in The Empty Chair. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
We'll continue with Suspense in a moment. Now, here is Mr. Royce G. Martin, chairman of the board and president of the Electric Autolite Company, to introduce a special guest.
Tonight, the worldwide Autolite family is privileged to salute the American Automobile Association and its traffic safety program. To tell us how this practical safety program is helping to reduce traffic accidents by teaching future drivers how to be careful drivers. Here is the president of the American Automobile Association, Mr. Ralph Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We of the American Automobile Association are grateful for the interest shown in our work by the Autolite family, as evidenced by this program tonight. The problem presented in this dramatization is, unfortunately, a very real one and a very common one. However, cooperating with school and community authorities, we are engaged in stimulating and aiding an active educational program to teach our young drivers and pedestrians safety first. This year alone, 3A materials and services are being widely used in grammar and high school class instruction. Indeed, will help over 12 million students. This, of course, is important to all of us. If you have a son or a daughter in school, ask about this program and set a good example yourself by practicing safety behind the wheel. If you are a student, take an active part in class, and when you are behind the wheel, be the best amongst the young drivers. Be a sportsman-like driver.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And as an 8-year-old boy said when he was asked what safety meant, safety is thinking not to get hurt or to hurt. There's a definition we should all remember.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Miss Agnes Moorehead in Elliott Lewis's production of The Empty Chair, a dramatic report well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Friday night in a quiet room and a window that opens onto the silences of a town already asleep. Friday night and an end of summer. Last weekend before school's opening and the last book you've promised yourself to read before summer's close. And read now to the undercurrent of voices from another room in Mrs. Morrison's home.
Well, it's not that, son. It's me. I want to do my best. I try to do my best. Now, if you'd only...
The night stillness. And Mrs. Morrison searched through it for the words to speak to her 17-year-old son. Saturday morning, and Mrs. Morrison has made breakfast and over coffee.
Will you try and do something about my boy, Miss Warner? Maybe you could do something. Please.
And dress then and go to the school. Try to save a boy.
open. Come on in.
Oh, hello, Miss Warner.
I don't want to interrupt, Mr. Douglas.
No, you're not. I'm just getting everything ready for when school opens Monday. What are you doing here today? Anxious to get back in harness?
I don't know. I think so. Mr. Douglas.
Yes?
Do you know a boy named Bobby Morrison?
Why, yes. What about Bobby?
I'm boarding with him and his mother.
I heard the police picked him up racing last night.
Yes.
Some of the boys came in and told me about it. I'm sorry to hear.
His mother is very troubled. She asked me to help.
Mm-hmm. Bobby's very bright. A real bright, intelligent boy. And sensitive.
You were going to say something else, Mr. Douglas, about Bobby.
He's a boy without a father. When he was 8. Bobby's a boy who's looking for something.
And he finds it in speed and in danger in ways that could kill him.
We try, Miss Warner. We try real hard. We cooperate with the auto clubs. You know about the classes I give in driver instructions.
Mr. Douglas.
And I tell the kids, you kids drive like that, I say 1 out of 1,000 of you'll be a corpse before the year's out. 1 out of 45 hurt, crippled. We tell them why traffic laws are made. For the protection and survival of the community. By actual demonstration, we show them what a tremendous force they're handling when they're behind the wheel of an automobile. We go out and demonstrate the different conditions, the distances it takes to stop a car on a dry and slippery pavements from different speeds. Together, we study accident reports and actual photographs of what happens when you're arrogant or careless with a car. Smashed cars from head-on collisions. Smashed people. We give them visual and muscular coordination tests so that they'll understand what speed and hundreds of horsepower can do to them and how to face emergencies behind the wheel. We try to make sportsman-like drivers out of them. Miss Warner.
Yes?
Boys like Bobby, whatever their reasons, they won't listen. Nights they gather and go out to the hub in their souped-up cars, and they dance to the jukebox. And they won't listen.
The hub?
A place out on State Highway 52, south side of the bridge. Used to be a kind of general store, a fountain and hamburgers. The kids picked it up, had Charlie Phillips, the owner, put in a jukebox and a big neon sign. They gather there nights for races, for...
Will you take me there, Mr. Douglas?
What?
I want to see for myself. Tonight, around 9. I'm at Mrs. Morrison's on Benton, 853. Will you call for me?
Why, of course.
Thank you. And later, when I got back to the house, Mrs. Morrison said Bobby hadn't been home all day. But it wasn't unusual, she said. He'd show up for dinner. But he didn't. And Mrs. Morrison picked at her food and got up from the table too often and walked around and made excuses which could cover Bobby's not being there. A double feature Bobby had to see twice. A friend had him to dinner, and Bobby forgot to call. The ordinary excuses we all make to hold back the truth for a while. And after dinner, dishes and her trying to chat brightly, but somehow sentences trailing off and not being finished. And glances through the window onto the night street, and the head cocked to the sound of every passing automobile. And when the doorbell rang, a mother hurrying for news of her son.
Oh.
And the disappointment.
Please come in, Mr. Douglas.
Thank you.
Oh, Miss Warner. Mr. Douglas is here.
And the ride down State Highway 52. South through good countryside of sycamore and birch, across the wooden bridge. And the intrusion now upon a time of evening quiet of a thing. A wheel, an enormous wheel of red neon. A wheel whose each spoke displaced a tube of sky when it lit, one spoke after another. And when the huge and clever wheel was finally complete, a thing happened. The word hub announced itself at the split second when the center of the wheel appeared.
This is the place. Let's go inside.
You and your friend can have this booth right here, Mr. Douglas.
Thanks, Charlie. Oh, don't go away. I want you to meet a friend of mine, Miss Warner, Charlie Phillips.
How do you do?
Hello.
The hub belongs to Charlie.
Yes, ma'am.
How are things, Charlie?
Last night, that kid over there, you see him? Huh? That one near the music box.
Gordon Matthews?
Who knows what his name is?
Well, that's Gordon, all right. He was in my homeroom last year.
You should have made him write a few hundred times, don't play with matches. He would like to set fire to the place last night.
Why, that boy's barely 15 years old. What's he doing out here 5 miles outside of town, this late at night?
Listen, he's got a parent or two can ask that question, not me.
Oh, why don't you just tell him to go home, Charlie? Why don't you keep him out of here?
For the same reason you're teaching school, to eat, to make a living. Once this was a nice place.
Why, there's David Cooper. David?
Oh, hello, Miss Warner.
What are you doing here, David? David, I'm talking to you.
I know you are.
How did you get out here?
I hitched.
Mr. Douglas and I are going to take you home.
I'm sorry, Miss Warner, but Oh, hi, Bobby. You ready, kid?
What is this, Bobby?
School opens Monday. Then you ask questions and ask for hands. Saturday night don't belong to you, Miss Warner. Come on, kid.
Please, Miss Warner, let me go.
What's the trouble?
Look, you'd better stay out of this, Mr. Douglas.
David is going someplace with Bobby. I want to know where.
Where, Bobby?
All right. Outside is my car. And outside is 2 other cars, and the boys in them are impatient. That's how we tell each other we're impatient.
You going to race, Bobby?
Yeah. And down the road a few yards is a bridge. You get the picture?
You're crazy.
What's he going to do?
Tell her.
The 3 of them will line up abreast on the road, then they'll race to the bridge and over it.
But there's only room for 2 cars across that bridge.
That's right. One of us will have to drop back. Come on, Davy.
Okay.
No, you stay here, David.
No.
Now, listen, you can get killed.
Let go of me.
I would if I were you, Mr. Douglas. I'd really let him go.
Mr. Douglas, hey.
What do you want, Charlie?
These kids, they turn into a wolf pack. Don't get yourself into any trouble.
Why, these boys wouldn't dare to.
Listen, Miss Warren. Last month, an older brother, must have been a man about 30, very hefty fellow with muscles on his forearm. This fella came in here and tried to pull his kid brother out of here. He landed in the hospital. Cut. There's 16 kids here, Miss Warner.
But what Bobby is going to do, that race over the bridge with David, both of them can be killed.
The way they handle those cars, you don't know.
Come on, Davy. You coming?
Well, sure.
And Mary Wheeler, you start the last row. Mary, will you please take the seat down front? Then Judy Wilson. Then John Young, the 3rd seat. And Martin Young. You're brothers, aren't you? I can tell. And next to the last, Audrey Zant. And George Zimmerman. There. Now, young ladies and gentlemen, here we are. 10B3 at Alexander Hamilton High School. Oh, come right in, Bobby. And so, class, this is the first day of our new school year, and this is where we'll meet to start each day and to end it. The young gentleman who just came in to visit is a senior, and his name is Bobby Morrison. He asked if he could talk to you, and I said he could. All right, Bobby.
Thank you. I guess, first of all, I want to apologize to you. All of you. Miss Warner and, well, all of you. Because of that empty chair. It's my fault. I guess you know about it. I guess you've heard. But I want to tell you how sorry I am. It was my fault. Now, soon you'll be taking those driver training courses, and that way you're going to learn what safety means. That it means respecting the lives of others. Now, that's something I didn't do. And that's why you've got that empty chair instead of David Cooper. But David's going to be all right. I've been spending a lot of time at the hospital, and today they told me that. That's about all, Miss Warner. And thank you for letting me say it.
Thank you, Bobby. And that's why we'll save David's seat for him. He's coming back. I want to wish you all a fine, productive, and safe school year. And if there's anything you want to talk to me about, I'll always be here. You may go to your first class.
Suspense. Presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Miss Agnes Moorehead, will return in just a moment.
Tonight, our worldwide Autolite family has been privileged to salute the American Automobile Association and its traffic safety program. In fact, everyone who helps bring traffic safety and driver training programs to boys and girls in their school classrooms throughout the world. You, too, can aid in promoting safety by driving carefully at all times and by making sure that schools in your community are teaching traffic safety in their classrooms. Full information on programs available can be secured from your local automobile club affiliated with the American Automobile Association or from the American Automobile Association, Washington, D.C. And now I'd like to present Agnes Moorehead and our producer-director, Elliot Lewis.
Thank you, Harlow. Agnes, I'm happy to inform you that you have been voted Autolite's Golden Mike Award for the best female performance of the year on Suspense. Congratulations, and here, this is for you.
Oh, thank you, Elliot. As you know, Suspense has always been my favorite radio show, so receiving this award is a double honor. Thank you very, very much.
Next week, a story based on fact as we recreate the excitement and violence of a fire in an oil field. The story is called Hellfire. Our star, Mr. John Hodiak. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is transcribed and directed by Elliot Lewis, with music composed by Rennie Garrigank and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Empty Chair was written for Suspense by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. In tonight's story, Sam Edwards was heard as Bobby. Featured in the cast were Michael Chapin, Paula Winslow, Joseph Kearns, and Herb Butterfield.
Agnes Moorehead will soon be seen in The Magnificent Obsession.
And remember, next week, Mr. John Hodiak in Hellfire.
And now, this is Harlow Wilcox saying good night for the Autolite family with this reminder. You're always right to be careful.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now, the Whistler's strange story, The Disappearing Woman.
Beautiful women were very important to the great Grafton. In fact, he had always admitted that his success as a magician depended on an attractive assistant. But when Grafton arrived in Los Angeles from his South American tour, and hurried across town to his agent's office. He was alone. Yes, you've been alone ever since you left South America, haven't you, Jim? It was the only safe way in view of your sideline. A sideline which had been netting you big profits. It's well after office hours when you enter the Carlson building. The elevator is automatic now, and there's no one around. But you know that your agent, Earl Crawford, is expecting you. That he'll be waiting in his office on the 4th floor.
Oh, so you're back, Brett. I came here straight from the boat, Crawford.
What happened in South America?
Why, I did my act. Played the spots you booked for me.
I'm not talking about that.
I know you're not.
What about the money?
It's a long story, Crawford.
What do you mean it's a long story? You were able to get rid of the stuff down there, weren't you?
I was able to dispose of most of the money, but not all of it.
Oh, I see. Well, we'll settle up now.
I can't settle up, Crawford.
What do you mean?
I haven't got it.
You haven't got it? What are you talking about?
I was robbed on the boat coming back. Somebody broke into my cabin. There's a secret compartment in my trunk.
How did it happen?
I don't know. I did exactly as you told me. Stayed by myself, only left my cabin to eat, spoke to no one.
What about women?
I didn't speak to a woman on the entire trip.
What'd you do about the robbery?
Nothing. I couldn't do anything. My hands were tied.
What do you mean?
I hadn't destroyed the rest of the counterfeit.
Oh, you idiot.
It was stolen along with the real money. If the thief was found, the counterfeit would be discovered.
And whoever got it knows you're mixed up in the counterfeit racket.
That's about it, Crawford.
You're in trouble, Grafton. Plenty of trouble.
What do you mean, trouble?
I didn't print that phony money myself, you know.
I know that.
There are people higher up. You do your explaining to them, too.
I don't want to get involved.
You are involved, Grafton.
But you said... What's the idea of the gun, Crawford?
I'm taking no chances. Come along. Tell your robbery story to the big boys.
But listen, Crawford, you can cover for me. Book my act, and I'll make it up.
Nothing doing.
Then I'll get somebody else to book me and turn my entire salary over to you.
You can't get a booking without a new girl to help you. Takes time. As a magician working alone...
Okay, Crawford. Let's get going.
Right.
Just a minute, Crawford. Look out! That was the oldest trick in the world, Crawford. And you fell for it.
Put down that gun, Grafton. Let's talk this over. Nobody knows you took the counterfeit to South America. I'll cover for you.
You bet you will, Crawford. You bet you will.
It was all unexpected, wasn't it, Jim? But you hope that you may be able to slip out of the building unseen. You wipe your fingerprints from the gun, drop it beside Crawford's body, and then turn out the light. You steal out into the hall. You snap the lock on the office door. No one is in sight. You're heading for the stairway when a young woman comes around a turn in the corridor and stands squarely in your path.
Oh, Mr. Grafton.
I beg your pardon?
Well, you are the great Grafton, aren't you?
What makes you think so?
Well, you were pointed out to me on the boat. I tried to talk to you.
Sorry, I'm in a hurry.
But I want you to help me, Mr. Grafton.
Yes? Well, what can I do?
My name is Anita Ballard. I'm a dancer. I just got back here from Central America. I just have to have a job right away, and I don't know anybody in town.
I see.
There's a booking agent on this floor. His name is Earl Crawford. You know most of the agents. Perhaps you could introduce me to him.
It's not likely that he would be in his office at this hour.
No. I suppose not. Just came here out of desperation. I heard that Crawford always has an opening of some sort.
Well, if you're looking for a job, maybe you won't need to see Crawford after all.
Well, what do you mean, Mr. Grafton?
I might have something for you. I need a girl for my act.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I've had experience as a magician's assistant. I was a box jumper with Barton one season.
Well, that sounds fine. We'll talk about it. Over a steak.
A perfect idea. Over a steak.
By the time you reach a nearby restaurant, you've a plan of action in mind, haven't you, Jim? Anita Ballard must disappear before Crawford's body is discovered. He must not be around to testify that she met you on the 4th floor of the Carlson building. As you look at her across the restaurant table, you wish there were some other way, don't you, Jim? She's strikingly beautiful.
with classic features and long black hair. She would make the perfect assistant for a magician. But you know that your one chance is to get her in a car on some pretext and drive her out of town. And as soon as possible, before anyone you know sees you together.
You're not enjoying your cake, Mr. Grafton. Something bothering you?
No, Anita, nothing. I'm just thinking.
About what?
About you. About what to do with you. I suppose you're prepared to travel.
Oh, how soon?
Well, I have some extra equipment stored in San Diego. I think I'll drive down there tonight. You haven't anything to keep you here, have you?
No, not a thing.
All right, then, Princess.
Princess?
My assistant is always called Princess Naya.
That's a pretty name.
And you're a pretty girl. I'm sure we'll get along well together.
I'm sure we will.
Well, let's go.
Well, if it isn't the great Grafton.
Oh, hello, Fillmore.
Thought you were in South America, Grafton.
I just got back. If you'll excuse us...
Now, wait a minute, Grafton. I ought to meet the princess. I suppose this is the present Princess Naya.
Well, yes, I am, Mr.
Fillmore. Well, there have been a lot of Princess Nayas, each one more beautiful than the last. But I must say, Grafton, you've outdone yourself this time. You know, with such a lovely partner, I might be able to find you a booking.
Well, you're very flattering, Mr. Fillmore. I take it that you're an agent?
That's right. Oh, mind if I sit down a minute, Grafton?
Oh, no, of course not.
You know, I'm not kidding about the booking, Grafton. I need a magic act for the Garden Club in New York.
What does it pay?
$500 a week, 3-week guarantee.
Well, that sounds interesting.
But no buts about it, Grafton. You'll take it and you know it. But we're going to have to hurry. You and the princess have got to leave for New York on the midnight plane.
Well, Jim, the meeting with Fillmore upset your plans, didn't it? And you're forced to take Anita to New York as the Princess Naya, the assistant in your magic act. Her presence near Crawford's office at the time of his murder makes her dangerous to you, doesn't it? And you can't see a way out of the situation. But when you read an item about the shooting in the New York papers, you receive a surprise. Crawford's counterfeit dealings were suspected by the police, and underworld characters are being sought in connection with his death. Yes, it's a big load off your mind, isn't it? And especially when Anita makes no reference to the affair and turns out to be very good in your act. Then, at the end of your first week at the club, you knock at her dressing room door.
Come in.
Good news, Anita. I've been talking to the manager. He's crazy about the act.
We're getting over well, aren't we?
Yeah. You're doing a swell job.
That's nice to hear.
Oh, by the way, I got paid. Here's your salary.
I want to talk about that.
What's the matter? Isn't it enough?
No, it isn't.
Well, what do you want?
I want half, Jim.
Half?
$250, half the act.
But in Los Angeles, we agreed.
The circumstances were different then. At that time, I didn't know that your agent, Crawford, had been murdered.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Everything. You did it, and I know it.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Everything fits together. Crawford was probably mixed up in counterfeiting. Same as you.
Counterfeiting? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. Our meeting outside his office wasn't accidental. I'd followed you there from the boat.
But why?
Because I found out you were mixed up in the counterfeit racket.
How?
That's my business. And from now on, I intend to cash in on my discovery.
What do you mean by that?
I stole your money on the boat, Jim. There's nothing you can do about it. But I'm going to use it for your own best interest.
My best interest?
Mm-hmm. The act needs dressing up, new wardrobe, new scenery, some slightly new illusions. Big-time stuff. Big money. What I've always wanted.
I see.
You're a good magician, Jim. You've got everything. Appearance, poise. With me and a girl to double for me in the big tricks, we can be a big success.
And half goes to you?
Half goes to me.
And you propose to use my own money to build the act?
Exactly.
What about the counterfeit money you took?
That I'll keep for my own protection. To see that I'm not double-crossed.
Well, your frankness is alarming, Anita.
Does it annoy you, Jim, to realize you're dealing with someone as ruthless as yourself?
Not so. And the pulpit? I say we'll go right ahead. I mean, with your plans for the new act, the big illusion.
Good. You'll start interviewing girls for my double right away.
I will.
I'll be on the lookout myself. Don't want to put all the burden on my dear partner.
Thank you, Anita. Very thoughtful. Let me know if you find anyone.
Oh, Jim.
Yes, Anita.
Look who I found. Connie Nelson, my new double. This is Mr. Grafton, Connie, the great Grafton.
Hello.
How do you do? What do you think of her, Jim?
Oh, not bad. Not bad at all.
She's the same height as I am, same weight. Even her features are much the same.
She looks amazingly like you, Anita. Except for her blonde hair.
Well, that's all the better. She can wear a black wig in the show, and off stage, nobody will know she's with the act.
Any objections to traveling, Connie?
Oh, no, Mr. Grafton. I'd love it.
You may find it a bit lonely. You won't be able to stay at the same hotel as the Princess Naya and I, or even be seen with us in public. No one, not even my agent, is going to know that there's more than one girl with the act.
Well, I see, but is that perfectly honest?
How do you mean?
Well, pretending I'm not with the act when I am.
Well, the world of magic is based on deception, but the people love it. You'll really be contributing to the amusement of the public.
Oh, in that case, I'd like to do it. Very well. Come back in the morning at 10. Thank you, I will. Goodbye, Mr. Grafton.
Goodbye, Connie.
Well, what do you think?
Interesting. Very interesting.
You mean her looks or her scruples?
They're both rather unusual.
Well, just so you don't become too interested, Jim.
What do you mean?
We don't need any complications.
Such as?
Either one of you forgetting there's only one Princess Naya.
I'm sure I won't forget that, Anita.
I'll see that she doesn't.
Yes, Anita. I'm quite sure that you will.
Anita has just given you an idea, hasn't she, Jim? And perhaps it could work if you're careful. You avoid speaking to Connie except on business until the act gets started and you're booked out of town. And then one day, you manage to run into her in a park.
Well, hello, Connie.
Oh.
You're watching the Swan?
Mr. Grafton. Yes, I've been here for hours. You know, I get awfully lonesome.
Oh, you poor kid. I suppose you do.
If only I had someone to talk to.
A pretty girl like you shouldn't have much trouble about that.
Because, you see, I can't talk to anyone. If I did, I'd have to tell them who I am, that I'm with the act.
You're awfully honest, aren't you, Connie?
Of course.
You keep a secret very well. You know, I've been thinking, how would you like me to teach you something about magic? It would help pass the time for you.
Oh, I'd love it. Would you do that?
I'd have to arrange so that no one knew about it, not even Anita. I could teach you her part in the act. And then if she ever got sick and was unable to work, you could replace her. That would be a nice surprise for her, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
And then, of course, someday she might decide to leave the act.
That's the beginning, isn't it, Jim? You start working with Connie in secret, grooming her to take Anita's place. For Anita is going to leave the act, isn't she? Yes, she's going to disappear. One of these days, when Connie is ready, Anita will arrive in town as the Princess Naya. But when the act leaves town, the Princess Naya will be Connie, wearing her black wig. But there are details to work out, and they're difficult. It's not until you reach the West Coast that a solution appears. And then one night, a Mr. Norman pays you a visit. He wants you to appear at a benefit to raise funds for a local charity.
It's going to be a big thing, Mr. Grafton. Every performer in town is taking part.
Well, I'd be glad to help out, but we're closing here Friday night. We leave for Los Angeles Saturday morning.
You couldn't stay over for Saturday night?
Why, I don't know. We don't open in Los Angeles till the first of the week.
Well, did you ever think about making the trip down the coast by boat?
By boat?
Mm-hmm.
Why, no, I hadn't.
My wife and I made the trip a few weeks ago. It'd give you a very good rest.
Yes, I can imagine.
I'll tell you. There's a boat leaving Saturday night about midnight. Now, why don't you stay over and work the benefit? We'll put you on the stage about 10 o'clock so you'll have plenty of time to get to the boat.
Well, now you mention it, that's not a bad idea.
I was sure you'd see it.
But I'll tell you, Mr. Norman, I wouldn't be able to do my big illusion at a benefit. It requires too much work to set up.
Oh, that's all right. Just do some of your other stuff, just so you make an appearance.
Well, in that case, it's all set. I don't see why not. I'm always glad to help a good cause.
The setup couldn't be better, could it, Jim? As you talked to Norman, the whole thing took shape in your mind. A big benefit performance. Hundreds of people around. The perfect time for Anita's disappearance. If you don't use the big illusion, you will need only one girl. Both Anita and Connie will arrive to assist you. But Connie will do the act and go to the boat as the Princess Naya. And Anita's body will be in the secret panel of your large trunk. Have the trunk put in your cabin, and once you're at sea, it will be very easy to dispose of Anita, won't it? But the next day, when you talk to Connie...
I can't understand it, Connie. You say you want to leave the act?
Yes, Jim, right away. I want to go when we close here Friday night.
Oh, but you can't do that.
You can find another girl to double for Anita.
But why, Connie? Why?
Please, don't ask me.
But you can't leave now, Connie. Please wait a few weeks.
No, I've made up my mind. The only way out.
Way out? Out of what?
All this secrecy. This meeting you privately. What it does to me. Can't you understand, Jim?
What it does to you?
Can't you see, Jim? I'm in love with you. It's not your fault. It just happened. You've been so good to me, so kind. But there's no future for us.
Oh, Connie, darling. Of course there's a future for us. A wonderful future. Why do you suppose I've been working so hard with you? Teaching you everything I know. It's because I want you as my partner.
But Anita's the Princess Naya.
Anita and I are going to split up.
But I couldn't take another woman's job. It wouldn't be fair.
There's nothing unfair about falling in love.
Mary?
Yes. I love you, Connie. I've loved you for a long time.
Have you, dear?
Of course. But now, about Anita. I'm going to talk to her.
When, Jim?
Right away, this week. I'll make arrangements to buy her half of the act.
Oh, can you do that?
I think so, but we mustn't let her suspect that we're in love.
Why not?
Well, it's not wise. For business reasons. She might take advantage of the fact to drive a hard bargain. So we probably shouldn't see much of one another for the rest of the week. But you meet me Saturday morning in Abby's jewelry store.
Oh? Abby's jewelry store? But why?
You'll see, Connie. You'll see. Hello, dear. You been waiting long?
Oh, no, just a few minutes. I've been looking at these cigarette cases. Aren't they beautiful?
Oh, yes. Especially that gold one. Very nice.
I'd like to buy it for you.
Oh, we aren't here to buy anything for me. We're going to buy something for you. A diamond engagement ring.
And it's all settled?
Yes. Anita is leaving the act. You're going to open in Los Angeles. In fact, you may have a chance to break in at the benefit tonight.
Tonight?
Uh-huh. Now, to tell you the truth, Anita and I had a little disagreement about our financial settlement.
Oh.
She's in a very bad humor. I don't know whether she's going to play the benefit or not.
Oh, I'll come to the theater.
No. You stay at your hotel. But be made up and ready at about 9:30. Then, if Anita doesn't want to go on, I'll call you.
Of course. I'll be waiting.
And now we'd better see about a ring.
Things are working out very well, aren't they, Jim? You're buying an engagement ring for Connie. Another step in setting the stage for Anita's disappearance. You've told Anita to be at the benefit at 9:30. And when she comes to your dressing room, you're ready for her. A few minutes later, Anita Ballard's body is in the secret panel of your trunk. Then you go to a phone and call Connie. And she hurries over, and the act goes on at about 10 o'clock. Connie is nervous and excited, but she does the act perfectly.
How did I do, Jim? Was I all right?
You were good, Connie. Very good.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, I better change. We haven't much time, have we?
No. We'll take a taxi straight to the boat. By the way, keep on your black wig.
Oh.
You're the Princess Naya now, you know.
Well, that's right, I am. Oh, hardly feels possible.
You can dye your hair black on the boat. Oh, here are the men for the baggage. Excuse me, dear.
I'll be ready in a minute, dear.
Mm-hmm. Right in here, fellows. I'm all packed.
So let's go.
Yes, and I want it all put in my cabin.
Right, Mr. Grafton.
Now be careful with that big trunk.
Okay. Take that in, Joe. Hey, this is a heavy one.
Yes, it is rather heavy.
I'll bet one of your best tricks is in there.
Yes, as a matter of fact, my very best trick. The disappearing woman.
Well, Jim, when you board the boat, go to your cabin and find your luggage all in place. You finally feel very safe, don't you? There's only the matter of getting rid of Anita's body, now hidden in your property trunk. When the boat reaches the open sea, she will have disappeared forever. Yes, it won't be long. You're glancing at your watch when there's a knock on the door.
Oh, Carmen, come in.
How soon do we sail?
In about 15 minutes.
Good. And there's still time.
Time for what, darling?
For the cigarette case to arrive.
Cigarette case?
That gold cigarette case you admired this morning. I bought it for you. I had your initials put on it, so I couldn't take it with me. But they promised to deliver it to the boat.
You bought me such an expensive gift? But how could you afford it?
Well, the money was a present from Anita. I told her about our engagement.
You told her? When?
This afternoon I had to. I felt it was dishonest to keep it from her. She seemed very happy about it. Gave me the money and insisted that I use it to buy you a present. Oh, that must be the cigarette case now.
How do you do? I'm Rice from Treasury Department. I'd like to see Mr. Grafton.
Well, he's right here. Won't you come in?
What do you want?
Some counterfeit money was used to buy a cigarette case to be delivered to you here on the boat, Mr. Grafton.
Well, I don't know anything about it.
Counterfeit money?
Yes, the passer is described as a blonde girl about 20 years old. She and old dark man, they bought a diamond ring using good currency. Then later, she came in alone with the counterfeit. Now, just what's your connection to Miss Grafton?
Well, it's all very simple.
Keep out of this, Connie.
Mr. Grafton is the dark man, and I'm the blonde girl.
You are?
Oh, yes, I'm wearing a black wig.
What is this, Grafton? What are you trying to pull?
Please, this is a mistake. We're honest people.
I believe you when you got the money you spent for the cigarette case.
That money was given to me by a girl named Anita Ballard.
Mm-hmm. Where is she now?
I don't know. She's gone.
Well, we'll pick her up. All right, come on. You'll both have to get off the boat.
Oh, now, wait a minute. It's time to sail.
I'll have the boat held until your luggage is taken out.
What? My luggage?
Well, yes, Mr. Grafton. We'll have to make a thorough search of your luggage. You know, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we found the plates in the printing press for the counterfeit money right over there in that big property trunk.
Featured in tonight's story were Bill Foreman as the Whistler, Betty Lou Gerson, Les Tremaine, Jean Bates, Bill Boucher, and Jess Kirkpatrick. The Whistler was directed by George W. Allen, with story by George Adrian and Carol Nix, music by Wilbur Hatch.
Oboler's plays. A Story in the Night.
The sea is very quiet.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Will it be very quiet under the water?
No motion, Your Excellency.
I'm sure it'll all be very amusing.
I hope so, sir. The captain ought to have everything ready by now, sir. If you'll excuse me now, Your Excellency, I'll go see.
No, just a moment, Doctor.
Yes, Your Excellency?
You're much too impatient, my dear young friend. One of the great joys of an experience is to savor it before it happens. Yes, stay and talk to me.
As you say, Your Excellency.
How far under will we have to go to break the record?
Over half a mile, sir.
Uh-huh. How far's the bottom?
Just over the record mark.
Deeper than any man's ever gone. It'll all be very amusing. Suddenly the wind's changed.
Always at this hour of the day, Your Excellency. It's time to go.
I assure you that the sea will wait for us.
But I only thought that...
Don't think so much, my young friend. Thinking is an unnecessary pastime. The emotions are much more dependable. My thoughts tell me that this little excursion under the sea will be quite precarious. On the other hand, my emotions tell me that it will be most interesting and amusing.
Your Excellency, we are ready.
Oh, Captain, you too are impatient, huh?
I don't know what you mean. That is to say...
No, don't splutter. Now, come ahead, my young and impatient friend. We'll go aboard your diving bell and begin our little adventure. Come.
Attention! You see, Your Excellency, we are quite ready.
Well, Doctor, is everything to your satisfaction?
Did you put in an extra oxygen tank, Captain?
Yes, sir. Everything just as you said, Doctor.
The telephone communication been tested?
20 times.
Searchlight?
I assure you everything has been tested, Doctor.
The winch goes smoothly now.
Why, yes, I believe...
I don't want you to believe. I want you to know.
But I assure you...
Go and test it at once.
Yes, Doctor. At once, Doctor. All right, men. Test number 1.
Aye, sir. Test number 1.
Slowly. Slowly there.
Well, your thoroughness is most commendable, Doctor.
We are going half a mile below the sea, sir. Nothing can be left to chance. The pressures down there are almost beyond imagination.
Yes, I know.
Particularly on this dive, everything must be perfection.
You mean the record?
I mean, Your Excellency, that your life is precious to the state.
Yes. The press of the world has known me only as a record breaker in the world of what they so quaintly term power politics. By nightfall, they'll herald me as a record breaker in the world of science, eh, Doctor?
If all goes well, Your Excellency.
If? You have doubts?
No one can predict the ways of the sea.
What are you talking about? You'll be quite apart from the sea inside of this steel ball, this bathysphere. Oxygen to breathe, telephone with which to communicate, lights with which to see. Why should there be any question?
Question of the human factor, Your Excellency.
Yes, you're as cautious as they said. I like that. I, too, am a cautious man. Oh, yes, indeed. My success has been based upon determining that the unpredictable cannot occur before I, shall I say, embark upon my bold adventure. I'm talking quite frankly with you, eh, Doctor? Well, it pleases me to do so. For a few hours, we'll be locked up in that steel ball. There's no reason you shouldn't know a little about your leader, is there?
You honor me, sir.
For example, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that the steel cable which will drop us down beneath the ocean has strength enough to hold 50 such steel spheres as the one we'll be in. I know, too, that you've made 30 such descents towards the floor of the ocean without the slightest misadventure. The men on this cruise are there specially trained for the work. And with my life in their hands, I'm sure they'll be particularly careful on this descent. Eh, Doctor?
There is no doubt of it, sir.
All ready now, sir.
Shall we go now, Your Excellency?
Yes, of course.
Careful, Your Excellency. The deck is quite wet here.
Well, thank you, Captain. You're very thoughtful.
Thank you, sir. Attention!
No formalities. Let the men go about their business so we can get started.
Yes, Your Excellency. That's your work, men.
Would you like to get into the bathysphere first, Your Excellency?
No, after you. Quite a small doorway, isn't it? How fortunate we're both small, lean men, Doctor. Lean men. Caesar once said something about that sort, didn't he?
I don't know much about that sort of thing, sir.
Oh, I didn't imagine, sir. Get in, Doctor. I'll follow you.
Yes, sir.
Head first into the steel wall. Quite without dignity, eh, Captain?
Shall I help you, sir?
No, I'll make it all right. You ready for me, Doctor?
Come ahead, sir. Oh, no, careful of the bolt end, sir.
Careful.
does it?
You're all right, sir?
Yes, of course I am. Well, what are we waiting for?
Captain.
Aye, sir.
Close her up.
Aye, sir.
Your ears. Cover your ears, sir.
Huh?
The bolts and wing bolts that hold the door shut, they have to be tightened by hammering with a sledge. Cover your ears, sir. It's all right now, sir. They've done.
But what an infernal din. Wasn't there any other way?
Hammering is the only definite guarantee of a watertight seal, sir.
My ears.
All well in there, sir?
What's that?
A voice with a telephone, sir. They'll communicate with us from the deck every 3 minutes. If one of us doesn't answer within half a minute, the orders are to pull us up.
An excellent safety precaution, yes, indeed.
All well in there, Doctor?
All well.
We're moving.
Yes. Lifting us out to the end of the boom, and then down we go. Look, sir, you can see the deck down there through the windows.
Glass, so clear.
Clearest in the world. Quartz glass to stand the pressure.
Letting us down in the water, aren't they?
Yes, sir, in a moment.
We're under.
Yes, I'll turn the oxygen higher.
The light. So green.
Yes. Soon it'll be blue. Then a darker blue until at around 2,000 feet we'll be in a darkness that goes beyond dark. Complete, eternal night.
Eternal night under the water. How amusing.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
How far down are we?
About 1,100 feet, sir.
It's hard to believe it.
There is almost a quarter of a mile of water crushing down upon us.
The word crushing is most inappropriate at this time, my young friend.
My apologies, Your Excellency.
I've been watching the water. You said it would be as night. Yet it isn't black, it's blue. Strangest blue.
A few more 100 feet and there will be no more color in the water, sir.
The light out there. What?
I can't quite make it out, sir. Perhaps some sort of a luminous plankton.
That's amusing. The fishes carrying along their own electric plants.
The dark's alive with them, sir. Oh, look, sir.
What?
That small flat fish. You see, even his teeth gleam with the luminous mucus. I've caught that sort in the trawls. They can eat organisms as large as they are. Wait, I'll turn on the searchlight and you'll see.
No, never mind. I didn't come under the sea out of any interest in those bits of fish.
As you say, sir.
They light up like a train in the dark. Or would the portholes of a boat be a more appropriate figure of speech? Well, seen one, seen them all.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
How far down now? Ask him.
How far?
1,350 feet.
Right.
You make good time, huh?
Yes, sir. They lowered us very quickly, sir.
A 6-foot ball containing a very earnest young man and the leader of the state. Headed for... What shall we say, Doctor?
A new record, sir.
Is that as far as your imagination carries you?
At the moment, I cannot say, Your Excellency.
Well, perhaps when we reach the end of the cable, we'll discuss life and death very profoundly, eh, my friend? Philosophy under the sea. Yes.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
2,200 feet.
Right.
How much further?
We've 4,000 feet of cable, sir.
You were right. There's a darkness out there now that's darker than any night that man has ever seen. It's amusing.
All well down there, sir?
All well.
2,800 feet, sir.
Right. Your Excellency.
Yes?
In 10 or 11 minutes we will have broken the record. You keep your eyes so close to that window. Might I ask why?
I thought I saw something out there.
What, sir?
Something huge. It gave off a pale green light and then was gone so quickly I'm not quite sure.
I'll turn on the searchlight.
No. No, this infernal darkness amuses me. Tell me, Doctor, in your other trips, have you seen anything out there? Vague, huge, you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Several times.
Well?
Shadowy and indistinct. I couldn't say what, sir.
Can't you guess?
I have no answers.
All well down there, sir?
Oh, tell him yes, and stop annoying us.
All well, and
Captain's
Gunpowder.
compliments, sir. You've reached 3,028 feet, sir.
That was Beebe's record.
Huh?
The old one.
3,030.
Broken it.
3,100.
Doctor, that's quite enough.
3,150.
Doctor, did you hear me? Broken the record on a few feet to spare. Order them to hold us up.
3,200.
Doctor, you out of your head? I gave you orders. Have them pull us up. I've had enough of this. I tell you that What happened?
Happened? We just landed at the bottom of the sea, that's all.
Why did you ignore my orders? I said to go up. What are you doing now? What was that lever that you threw? Answer me.
Yes, I'll answer.
Haven't you forgotten something, Doctor?
What?
To say, sir, Your Excellency.
Excellency? Here at the bottom of the sea?
What's happened to you? All of a sudden you... the excitement of creating a new record, a little too much for you, eh, my young friend? Well, it's understandable. Now signal the ship and have them draw us up. Your little adventure is over. Didn't you hear me? I said signal the ship.
How?
You out of your mind completely. Telephone them. At once, you hear me?
A telephone consists of a carbon transmitter, receiver, actuating battery, and connecting wire. We have no telephone.
Get to one side. Hello. Hello up there. Hello. Hello, answer me. Hello. Hello, blast you, answer me. Hello. But they don't.
The wire's torn loose. Would you know how to fix it, Your Excellency?
What? Oh, I see it. Happened when we bumped on the bottom, didn't it? Well, can't you fix it?
I can, but I won't, Your Excellency.
What is this?
It's taken you a great number of moments longer than I expected to ask that question. You notice that I've called you Your Excellency a couple of times, but that was the end of that. From now on, I will call you Your Infernal Excellency.
How amusing.
Still amusing?
Yes.
I don't believe it. You think it's some kind of madness on my part, that you'll do something about it.
Not I, you.
I?
You have an emergency way of signaling. Yes, I know you have. You flashed the searchlight on and off 3 times, and the flow of current registers up on deck. And they know that it's an emergency. I'll go ahead and do it, and perhaps I'll forget your little... Shall we call it... joke?
I am quite content to stay down here.
Turn on the searchlight. All right, I'll do it myself.
Why waste your time? You've so little of it left.
What do you mean by that?
The searchlight, too, is disconnected.
Why?
There is no need of it. It will be best to die in the dark.
Die?
Yes.
This is impossible. I investigated you, your record, your family, your associates. Clearest record in the state. You have no reason or the will to kill me. Kill me? It's really funny. A young, empty-headed fool kill me. It's very amusing.
You'll be afraid soon.
Is it possible that you've forgotten the final emergency signal, you fool? Yes, I said signal. The signal of silence. They'll try the telephone as scheduled, and when we don't answer, they'll pull us up. Have you forgotten that?
It's been more than 3 minutes since the last signal. If what you say is true, why aren't we moving?
We are. For all I know, we are.
Are we?
The darkness, who can tell if there's an upward motion?
You know we're motionless. As quiet as in a tomb. Appropriate, that. And we'll stay here. I know that.
Huh?
That lever up on the roof that I pulled.
Well?
It threw the end of the steel cable free. Yes, severed the cord between ourselves and the ship and the world.
No.
We are here, Your Infernal Excellency. Down here to stay.
No. You lie. I don't believe you. They'll pull us up. The telephone, here. Here, you up there, listen. Get me up. Get me up. You up there, hear me. It's your leader. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. You hear me? Get me out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Unbelievable.
Oxygen left for another hour, and it takes you 10 precious minutes of your precious life to believe. You do believe you're going to die now, don't you?
But I was sure nothing could happen. Every detail of the machinery. The record of every member of the crew.
And I was one of those who was perfectly harmless, eh?
Yes, your past. Since a boy trained in the schools of the state. Your father an official. Why do you do this to me? Why?
Your ego is so great that even now, knowing you're going to die here with me, you're less concerned with death than you are with knowing wherein you failed.
Answer me, why do you do this? You were trained in my schools, brought up to think the way you should think. Who up there made you do this thing, and why?
It will be a slow death. As slow as the death of my country.
Answer me, who and why?
Your mouth will bite for air, and there won't be enough to let you live, and yet there'll be enough so that you won't quite die.
You'll tell me you will.
Your lungs will reach up through your mouth, a breath of air, just another. There won't be another. And as you die, you'll know it.
I want to know one thing. Why do you do this?
Why? Yes, I'll give you your whys. You trained me in your schools. And from morning to night, what went into my head was only what you decreed was right and proper for a good citizen of your infernal state to know. Yes, you crammed my head full. But there's one place you and your books and your speeches couldn't reach. My heart.
Your heart?
Yes, heart. You heard me, heart. My head said believe. My heart said no. My head said obey. My heart said no. That's where you made your mistake, you devil. You didn't start in young enough with me. For the heart that was born inside of me has brought you here to die.
Die? I don't understand.
Wait, I'll turn a little more oxygen on. That'll give me a little more strength to keep on telling you your whys and cut the breaths left for you after I'm finished. What was I saying? Yes, that you didn't condition me quite well enough. Should have started with the embryo, for somewhere along the line a little humanity got inside of me that cried out against what you were doing. It grew and grew until it said you had to die. And you will die. Yes, here in the black under the sea. And they won't roll drums for you, march for you. Ended here. What have you to say to that?
You fool.
Fool? Is that all you answer?
Yes, fool.
You think I'm a fool to die here with you? You call me a fool when I know that ending here I give a new beginning to those up there.
Yes, such a fool.
Oh, stop saying that. They won't say it back in the cities when they know that they're free.
You fool. You think the freeing them of me will make them free?
Yes, of course it will.
I call you fool again. How do you think I became the head of the state? Through my great wisdom? I'm really not so wise. Through my great courage? No man has courage of that sort to stand up single-handed against the bullets and the bayonets of the entrenched powers. And how? How did I do it?
With lies and ruthlessness and cruelty, I know.
You don't know a thing. You saw the end result surrounded by pomp and circumstance, and you couldn't see the means. All right, I know I'm going to die. And a man is expected to die as long as I have. The actuality isn't quite as frightening as you might think. Since I am going to die, I'll have the one small satisfaction of showing you that you're an empty-headed fool.
Stop saying that!
Ah, you too have an ego. Apparently it's lived for weeks on how you'd make me plead and beg and squirm down on my knees. I had a few moments of hysteria, didn't I? You like that. But you don't like this. My sitting in the dark so calmly telling you that you're a fool.
I haven't failed. You're here.
You failed because if you're killing me and yourself to give them back their freedom, whatever that word means, you're dying quite in vain.
You're saying that because you think...
No, don't talk. Listen to me. I'll tell you where you failed. I came into power not alone through my own strength, but because the conditions of our country were such that other men sitting on their wealth came to the decision that I alone could keep them there.
But it was you...
I tell you, listen. When an ancient rule of privilege is threatened, it seeks to live no matter what the cost. The cost to them was me, and they found me worth it. For I threw to the mass none of the wealth they'd worked to build, but only fighting phrases of prejudice and hate that cost the men who made me nothing but the rent of the halls for the simple to hear my opiates. And so I call you fool. Fool to die and fool to kill me. For the conditions that made me will still exist when I'm dead. You free them of me. But what of hunger? What of ruthless exploitation? These will still be free up there to put hate and desperation into men. And so the ones who gave me power will find a new leader to stop the rumblings of rebellion with all the tricks that I taught them. A new leader. You hear me, fool? A new leader.
No, it isn't true. It can't be true.
It's so dark. If I could see your face, to see the fool discovering he's a fool.
They will be free. They will.
What magic do you think will come into the air when I'm dead? Will men forget their greed and say, oh, we've quite enough. That's enough for everyone. Let each share according to his needs. No, fool. With me or without me, the game will be played just as it always has been played. And so you're a fool and die like one.
Well, what could I have done? I had to do something.
I'll tell you what you could have done. You could have done the one thing that would have in time helped destroy not only me, but those who made me. You could have gone to the people.
What?
Yes, walked among them, worked among them, and at every chance whispered to them the things I kept from them. A noose would have been around your neck every time you opened up your mouth. And yet, in that talking of liberty and freedom and common decency and all the rest of that sort of thing, there'd have been far more meaning in this futile murdering of me. I've had them hunted down and shot, each of those who dared to whisper among the people. But as they died, I didn't call them fools, because I knew that they were wise. That only through the will to live and do of the great bludgeoning mass of their people was their hope of making that new world they wanted. Oh, why have I bothered talking? The air's thick. I'm tired. Hand me something heavy, fool.
Why?
Why? More explanations? All right, the last one. You think I'm going to sit here and wait and count my every breath until the dark's crawling with horrors and I'm No. I'll end it now, quickly. Yes, faster than a bullet shot. Give me something heavy, I tell you. I'll smash the glass. The water, tons of it, smashing in. I'll be dead, faster than the thought, and that'll end it.
Give me something to smash the glass, or I'll...
Yes, sir. All well down there, sir?
Voice. Telephone.
All well. Take us up.
We're moving. There's water on the glass. We're moving. Doctor, the cable.
I lied.
But all this time, why?
My orders to the crew were to leave us alone on the bottom as soon as the slackening of the wire showed them we'd hit the bottom.
The telephone.
I reconnected it while you talked.
Then, you didn't really mean to kill me.
Kill you? Yes, I meant to kill you. Had it all planned out. Tell you what I told you, and then you'd go quite crazy with fear. And after that, I'd kill you.
2,900 feet. All well down there, sir?
All well.
And yet you didn't.
The lights of the creatures out there. Blinking of stars on a cold night.
Why didn't you kill me? I want to know.
What would have been the good of it? A fool and a figurehead die together. No good of it.
So you believed me?
Even a fool can understand futility.
The water's getting lighter. Soon we'll be back. Up there. It'll be very strange at first.
I don't much care now, yet I'll ask, what happens to me?
You? I told you many things down there, didn't I? Yes, too many things. A man, in doubt as I was, talks too much. And since you of necessity heard what I said, when we get there, I will probably have you shot. The victim sentences his murderer. It will be most amusing.
Tonight's play, Bathysphere, was especially written for radio by Arch Oboler and featured George Zuko and Hans Conried. Next week it is our pleasure to bring you Miss Nan Sunderland in Mirage with Edmund MacDonald. Arch Oboler's plays. A Story in the Night. Arch Oboler's plays are presentations of the National Broadcasting Company. Tonight's play came to you from Hollywood's Radio City. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Broadcasting System presents The Mysterious Traveler, written, produced, and directed by Robert A. Arthur and David Cogan, and starring tonight two of radio's foremost actors, Mason Adams and Santos Ortega, in The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea.
This is The Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join me on another journey into the realm of the strange and the terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, and it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves, and be comfortable, if you can, as you hear the story I call The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. Our story begins in that part of the Caribbean Sea known as the Great Bahama Bank, which lies north of Cuba. In the calm, sparkling sea are two ships, a British destroyer and a small schooner. The schooner is a derelict and barely afloat. There's great activity aboard the destroyer as its longboat returns from the schooner. A few moments later, Chief Petty Officer Warren reports to the captain of the destroyer.
Yes, Warren?
Schooner's American, sir. The Golden Queen out of Key West. We found one man aboard. He was unconscious. He's in sick bay receiving medical attention.
Has he regained consciousness yet?
No, sir. He's in bad shape. We found him lying in the hold of the schooner. The cabin and rigging were completely gone.
Yes, well, evidently the schooner received the full force of that hurricane 10 days ago. Probably the other crew members were swept overboard.
Yes, sir. I've a letter which might throw some light on the subject, sir.
A letter?
Yes, sir. I found it clenched in the unconscious man's hand. Here you are, sir.
Let me see. Written in pencil. The pages are dry now, but they seem to have been soaked with seawater.
Yes, sir.
A bit difficult to read. Let's see, it begins... It seems impossible that with the hurricane that is now sweeping over this ship, anyone will ever read these words that I am writing. The rigging and cabin are gone, and the ship is taking on water. As I lie here in the hold, I feel it can only be a matter of moments until the end. But if by some miracle this ship should survive, I leave this letter
as a record of the cruise of the Golden Queen. It all began last December 5th when 4 companions and myself sailed out of Key West. All of us, Chuck Riker, Sam Morris, Pete Ross, Harry Martin, and myself, Bill Storm, had been in the Navy together during the war. We had all pooled our savings and bought the schooner Golden Queen. Our destination, Flamingo Cay, some 450 miles to the southeast of Key West. Our objective, to recover treasure from an English pirate ship reported sunk by a Spanish man-of-war at Flamingo Cay in 1632. As we reeled off mile after mile, the days were hot and bright, the nights a dark blue velvet, with a sky full of stars, and a good breeze filled the high white spread of sails. As we sailed the same waters that countless treasure ships had sailed only a few centuries ago, there was a growing sense of excitement and anticipation aboard the Golden Queen. At dawn on the 6th day of our trip, our lookout sighted Flamingo Cay.
Hey, that's it. 3 points to starboard.
Bill, that is Flamingo Cay, isn't it?
That's it, all right. Steady as she goes.
Steady as she goes.
Now, here, hold one end of this chart down.
Sure, Bill.
Now, here's Flamingo Cay, and here's Pirates Lagoon.
Pirates Lagoon?
Yeah.
According to the log of the Spanish man-of-war, that's where the English pirate ship headed in, trying to escape the Spanish.
The pirate captain sailed across the entrance to the lagoon, and a hidden route I'm wide open. Sank with all hands in less than a minute.
And with all its stolen treasure still aboard.
300-year-old log of the Spanish man-of-war is right. The pirate ship is on the bottom of that lagoon directly ahead.
That lagoon is sort of big, isn't it?
Yeah, it isn't going to be easy. Back steady as she goes. A few minutes later, the Golden Queen drove through the small opening in the jagged ring of reef and slid into the calm, smooth water of the lagoon. The anchor chain clanked as the big hook splashed into the water and found bottom. We had arrived at our destination. That afternoon, we lowered a small boat and began the tedious job of rowing back and forth across the lagoon, peering down into the crystal-clear water, looking for some indication of the wrecked pirate craft. Our eyes began to ache from the reflected sunlight as we scanned the bottom of the lagoon hour after hour. As one day of searching followed another, our spirits fell. It was on the 6th day that our luck changed.
Hey, stop rowing. Bill, look.
What? I don't see a thing.
No, keep looking at the bottom where I'm pointing.
Oh, it just looks like a large mass of coral covered with marine growth.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, but the marine growth. Can't you see the muzzle of a cannon sticking through?
Hey, you may be right. It does look like the muzzle of a cannon.
You think that marine-covered mass to be the...
Sure, it's the pirate wreck.
Sam, I think you found it. Chuck, drop a boy to mark the spot.
Right, Bill.
Now let's get back to the Golden Queen and get the diving equipment ready. This may be it. An hour later, I was in the diving suit.
Sam gave the helmet the eighth turn that fastened and locked it. The faceplate was slammed shut, and I could feel the air coming through my lines from the pump. I stepped onto the diving platform, and a moment later was descending into the clear, warm water. Fish of all colors darted about me as I was slowly lowered. My weighted boots struck bottom at 130 feet. Following the beam of light over my helmet, I peered into the wall of water around me. Suddenly, my heart began pounding with excitement. For less than 200 feet away was the large marine-covered mass of coral. I began to cautiously make my way toward it, keeping a careful eye out for sharks and morays which abounded in these waters. As I made my way closer, I could clearly see that the marine growth covered an old hulk. The ship lay on its side with a huge gaping hole in the broken hull. Scattered on the floor of the lagoon were ancient barnacle-encrusted cannon, guns, and timbers. Beyond a doubt, it was the wreck of the English pirate ship. I signaled on my line, and Sam sent down the explosives that were to be used to blast the hull. I wasted no time in planting the charges in the hull. It was just as I had finished that I heard his voice.
So you've come for Captain Murdoch's treasure, eh?
I whirled about clumsily, instinctively. But I was alone. Then I heard it again.
They've all come for my treasure. Cutthroats and cut purses, gulls and conies. And they've all left their skins.
Again I whirled about, seeking for that voice, but there was nothing at all. I could feel a scream welling up within me. As the voice spoke again, I gave 3 sharp tugs on my line. It was the emergency signal.
You'll be back, laddie. But remember, it's Captain Murdoch you've got to deal with. Captain Murdoch.
Keep the pumps going, Pete, until I get the faceplate open. Okay. Hey, Bill, I was wrong. Why'd you give the emergency signal?
Jesus, why did it cease? Bill, what happened? Was it an octopus? An octopus? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, these waters are full of them. You should have taken a saddle and torch down with you. They don't like torches.
Yeah.
You just take it easy for a while.
Bill, did you plant the explosives? Sure. Pete, detonate the explosives.
Okay, here goes.
They didn't go off. Bill, you're sure you made the connection? I made them, all right.
Well, they must have gotten loose. We'll just have to try again.
What about my going down? No.
Why not?
Well, because Chuck's only a beginner, and he's never gone down that deep.
You got a point there.
Well, okay. Means we'll have to wait until tomorrow.
Yeah. Bill will go down as soon as it's daylight and plant some more explosives. Right, Bill?
Right. Well, that night I lay awake in my bunk, going over and over in my mind the dive I had made and the strange voice I had heard. I kept telling myself that it had been an hallucination. That must be it. Being in pirate waters, the excitement of the search, going down to 130 feet, all had combined to create this hallucination. It was the only possible answer. What other answer could there be? Morning came, and I donned the diving suit. Sam handed me an acetylene torch. And a few minutes later, I was descending into the calm, green water. I touched bottom only a few feet from the wreck and signaled Sam to send down the explosives. As I waited, I found myself constantly turning in a circle, peering through my faceplate at the well of water which pressed in on me. The explosives were lowered to me, and I planted them in the hull. As I finished, I heard that voice once again.
You've come back, have you?
He spoke. I could feel cold shivers running through my body, and I fought the impulse to give the emergency signal.
Aye. That's the curse of treasure. Once a man tends it, there's no turning back. Ask me, laddie. Captain Murdoch. I'll tell you.
Where are you?
Where am I? Ask the fish that stripped me of my flesh and left me bones as a warning to the likes of you. Look at you. Huddling about like a jackanapes to see me. Hey, you fool. Did you think the spirit of a man could attend?
What do you want?
The 3 centuries I've haunted this accursed wreck, waiting for the likes of you. And now you've come. A treasure, laddie, such as you've never seen. Rubies and diamonds, pearls and sapphires, silver and gold. The wealth I saw from a dozen Spanish galleons. I'll share it with you, if you agree to my terms.
Terms?
Aye, laddie, terms. First, I'll share with you and only you. For the others, a dagger or the plank.
A dagger? Or the plank?
Aye. Many's the crew that felt my steel when there's been treasure to share.
You mean murder Sam, Chuck, and the others?
Aye.
Your boys. What you're saying, it's all an hallucination. It must be. I'm just hearing things.
I cannot word. What manner of weeping is this? What the steel do the men have done?
Stop talking. Stop talking. Do you hear? I won't do it. I won't.
You do it, laddie. Or you'll ne'er take my treasure.
Who's to stop me? A voice? A sheer hallucination?
Captain Murdoch, laddie. Captain Murdoch.
You're just a voice. You can't stop me. But don't. You're choking me. Stop.
Can't feel me, laddie. But you can feel my wrath, can you not?
Let go.
You'll find me a reasonable captain if you follow my orders. But if you don't, laddie, you'll ne'er see the sun again. Now these are my sons. Stay haste to my work.
How is he, Sam? Nice. He's just coming to. All right, take it easy, Bill. Just lie where you are.
What happened?
Well, I signaled you while you were on the bottom, but you didn't answer, so we hauled you up, but fast. We didn't even stop for decompression stages.
It made you pass out. I don't know.
Maybe your airline got snarled on the wreck.
Maybe. Did you plant the explosive? Yeah. All right. Pete, detonate it.
Okay. Hang on to something.
That did it.
Look at all those pieces of wood and dead fish coming up to the surface.
Yeah. That explosion must have ripped the wreck wide open. Ought to be soft pickings from here on in. What do you say, Bill?
Yeah, soft pickings.
All right, come on, boys. Let's get the diving equipment in A1 shape. Tomorrow's the big day.
All that night I lay awake in my bunk, staring into the darkness, trying not to think of that voice. But there was no escaping it. I could hear his every word over and over, relentlessly pounding into my brain, till I could no longer think for myself. As I donned the diving suit shortly after dawn, I could see Sam and the others eyeing me curiously as they helped me on with my equipment. 15 minutes later, I was on the bottom, making my way towards the wreck. The stern portion of the hulk had been blown into hundreds of fragments, and the floor of the lagoon was littered with old firearms, metal armor, broken gun flints, and cannonballs. As I picked my way through the debris, he spoke.
Come for the treasure, eh, laddie? Now that you and me are partners, you're welcome to it. And what a treasure it is.
Where is it?
You'll find 4 chests buried under that wreckage to your starboard.
There?
Aye. It took 12 ships and 1,000 lives to make up that treasure. Wait till you set eye on the precious stones I plucked from the San Cristo Domingo, worth a king's ransom.
These chests are filled with treasure?
Aye. And well you might gape. Lash that rope around them, laddie. This heavy they are.
They must each weigh at least 500 pounds.
Aye. Lash them snugly. With our fortune you have there, laddie. We'll buy the world for us.
All right, hold still, will you, Bill? I'm trying to get your helmet off. There. Look at it, boy.
4 chests, Bill, filled to the brim with jewels and gold. Just look at it. Sam, what do you think it's worth?
$5 million, maybe 10, even 20. Who knows? Look at this diamond. Why, it's the size of an egg. There's no telling what it's worth.
Some of the other diamonds are almost as big.
Boy, we really hit the jackpot.
Why, Bill, what's wrong? You haven't said a thing.
I guess I'm tired. Put me out of the suit.
Why, sure. Give me a hand, boys. This is the guy who did it for us.
We sure did.
I don't mind helping you, but this is hardly the kind of work for millionaires.
You're talking, Pete. And, boy, just as soon as we get Bill out of this diving suit, we'll weigh anchor for Key West.
Well,
no.
I gotta...
What do you mean, no?
Let's stick around so that I can make another dive tomorrow. I may have overlooked a couple of chests.
Well, that's hardly likely.
No, you've done enough diving, Bill. I don't mind telling you that you've had us all worried these past couple of days.
Yeah. You've been acting kind of strange.
That's wrong with him that $1 million won't cure.
Sun's already setting. We'll leave tomorrow.
Okay. I guess another night here can't make much difference. We'll weigh anchor at dawn. Now let's get these 4 chests below.
That night I lay in my bunk, waiting, watching. First Sam, then Pete, then Harry fell asleep. I slipped quietly out of my bunk, crossed the cabin, and stepped out on deck. A full moon shone down on the Golden Queen, and I could see Chuck, who was on watch, standing near the wheel, smoking. As I approached, he turned and saw me.
Hello, Bill. Couldn't sleep, huh?
No.
What about the others?
They're sleeping.
Don't see how they can do it. I'm so excited I couldn't. All I can think of is the treasure and what I'm going to do with my share.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the matter with you? Don't sound very enthused.
I guess I'm just tired.
Those dives you made must have taken a lot out of you.
Yeah. It did. Is that a ship out there?
Where?
There, 3 points to start.
I'm looking, but I don't see any.
I caught him and he dropped, and I carefully eased his body over the rail and let go. He hit the water with only a small splash and was gone. When dawn came, the others had followed. I was alone on the Golden Queen. Alone? No, that isn't quite correct. He was aboard. I couldn't see him, but he was with me all right. With his assistance, I weighed anchor. A half hour later, using the auxiliary engine, the Golden Queen slipped through the opening in the lagoon and out to sea. For a day and a night, I stood at the wheel, and when I was exhausted, he took over. It was on the 4th day that the hurricane caught me. Within the first hour, it swept the rigging and cabin overboard and left me helpless. Mountainous waves, one after another, are breaking over the Golden Queen.
And only a miracle can save me. If I go down, well, surely I must, at least he'll go with me. I realize now, too late, that... The letter ends at this point.
What do you make of it, sir?
Make of it? Well, it's obviously the letter of an insane mind. Bill Storm, the unconscious man that you found aboard the derelict, became demented when his 4 companions were swept overboard during the hurricane. And, as a result, wrote this fantastic letter.
Sir, while searching through Storm's pockets for the identification, I found these.
3 coins.
Yes. If you scrape the brown crust off them, you'll see they're gold pieces.
Look here. These coins are hundreds of years old.
Yes.
Well, that part of the letter about recovering sunken treasure might possibly have been true. Did you find any chests aboard the derelict?
No, sir. It was swept as clean as a whistle.
Well, perhaps it wasn't only the loss of his 4 companions, but the loss of the treasure as well that sent Storm out of his mind. Yes.
Sir, do you think there might have been anything to do with this Captain Murdoch he mentions in the letter?
Certainly not. Don't be ridiculous. I'm amazed at you, Warren. Next, you'll be telling me that you believe in ghosts.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Come along to the sick bay. We'll see if Storm has regained consciousness yet.
This fellow Storm, he seems to be regaining consciousness, sir. He's opening his eyes. Can't make out where he is.
All right, now, Storm, just lie quietly. Don't try to speak. You're quite safe now. You're aboard a British destroyer. The doctor says you're going to be all right.
He's trying to say something, sir.
No, don't try to speak, Storm. Just lie quietly and take it right. What was that?
He was asking, sir, about the treasure.
Oh, yes, the treasure. Well, I'll get to that, Storm, in just a moment. But the main thing to remember is that it's a miracle that you survived. You know, I read that fantastic letter you wrote, and I can only attribute it to the shock and grief of losing your shipmates in the hurricane. Never read such utter claptrap, pirate ghosts indeed. As for the treasure, I'm sorry to say that the hurricane swept your schooner clean. All that Chief Warren found were these 3 gold coins. The rest, I'm afraid, is gone.
Gone?
Yes, my good man, swept overboard.
Swept overboard? Why, you sniveling, perfumed, white-bellied girl. You think the likes of you can keep the treasure from me? Ask the others that tried it. Black Irish, Billy Bones, the Frenchman, Captain Bull. They felt my steel and left their bones to bleach in the sun. Bring me my chest, or I'll rip your tongue out and hang it to the highest yardarm. As sure as my name is Captain Murdoch.
My good man, excuse me. You're out of your mind. One, help!
You, Captain Murdoch, Fraser, would you? Let's see out of the world, laddie boy. If I did the other. Help! You'll never keep Murdoch's treasure. No, you struggling laddie. You're done for.
Mysterious traveler again. Did you enjoy our trip? Or was the captain of the British destroyer choked to death? Oh, no, he was saved. He's never been the same since. As for poor old Bill Storm, well, he's now safely under lock and key. He still speaks in 17th century English and insists he's Captain Murdoch. And now and then, he buttonholes one of his attendants and whispers of fabulous loot to be won on the high seas through piracy. But so far, he's been unable to muster up a crew. That reminds me of next week's story, The Accusing Corpse. It's about a murderer who discovered that the dead sometimes arise from the grave to... Oh, you have to get off here. I'm sorry. But I'm sure we'll meet again. I take this same train every week at the same time.
You have just heard The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and terrifying. The role of the Mysterious Traveler is played by Maurice Tarplin. Frank McCarthy speaking. This program came from New York. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Sunrise and sunset, promise and fulfillment, birth and death. The whole drama of life is written in the sands of time.
We present a new series of radio programs, The Clock.
Good evening. I'm glad to see you set your clock again, for me. I've brought you another story. It was told to me by a friend of mine, a watchmaker by trade. We were tinkering around together, so to speak, when he decided to pass the time of day with a little yarn. Passing the time of day is something you can always get me to do, and if I may say so, I do it rather well. You see, I'm one chap who has lots of time on his hands. Well, according to my friend, the story involves a fellow named Littlefield, a man of some intelligence and ingenuity. He was employed by a broker named Roberts as a personal secretary. Their relationship was extremely cordial.
Oh, what time is it, Littlefield?
It's 10:20, Mr. Roberts.
Sorry to have you work so late like this.
That's quite all right, sir. I don't mind at all.
Well, I guess we're just about cleaned up.
Yes, I think so. Okay. Mr. Roberts' office.
John?
Yes. It's for me, Mr. Roberts.
For you all.
John,
What is it, Louise?
what's the big idea?
Beg your pardon?
Don't beg my pardon. What's the big idea? It's almost 10:30. Why aren't you at home?
Well, I worked late tonight in the office.
Well, why didn't you call me?
I forgot.
You didn't forget. You did that on purpose. You knew I'd worry.
Louise, I'm still working.
I slaved over a staff half the day, and you don't even show up for dinner. What do you think I am, a cow? You can't treat me like that and get away
Look,
with
we'll
it.
discuss it later.
We'll discuss it now. I'm sick and tired.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Roberts.
Your wife.
Yes, it wasn't important.
How long have you worked for me, John?
15 years, sir.
That's a long time.
Yes.
Somehow it's brought us very close. You know, I feel I can trust you more than anyone else in the world.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
And so I also feel I have the privilege of talking to you like a father. You're in trouble.
No.
I mean, with your wife.
No, not exactly, sir.
She's called the office every day now for a week. And, my boy, I know it's upset you.
Now, look, I assure you, Mr. Roberts...
Come now, we can be frank with each other. I'm a man who understands.
I don't know what you believe that I'm in trouble, sir.
I tell you why. You see, I've met your wife, but I've never met that young blonde woman I saw you dining with the other evening. Oh, now don't look so unhappy. I don't hold it against you.
Well, that's very kind of you, Mr. Roberts.
A mild flirtation never hurt a man. However, those things can go too far. And I'd hate to see a friend of mine and a trusted employee break up his marriage because of a silly and unimportant episode.
Yes, you're quite right, sir.
Having never been married myself, with no family of my own, perhaps I feel there's something I've missed.
I understand.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
Good. I trust you'll think it over for your own sake. Very, very carefully.
Yes, I will, Mr. Roberts.
Oh, so much for the fatherly pep talks. Now, if you'll just put this envelope into the office safe, you can go home to your wife. With my apologies for keeping you.
Very well, sir.
Put it in the safe, Littlefield. You know that envelope contains $1,500 in cash, the Dawson account. I'm depositing it to his name in the morning. My boy, what's the matter?
Sir?
You keep staring at the safe dial. Now, don't tell me you've forgotten the combination after all these years.
No. Sorry. I was just thinking of something.
Your wife?
Yes, my wife.
Ah, then you've made up your mind.
I think so, Mr. Roberts.
Oh.
Yes, I've definitely made up my mind. Hello, Gloria.
Hi, sugar.
I'm sorry, Gloria. I'm waiting long?
About half an hour. I ordered a sandwich. You want one?
Oh, no.
I'm not having any dessert. I gotta watch my figure. I'm liable to lose my man if I lose my figure.
You'll never lose me, beautiful.
Here we go again. Same old malarkey.
What do you mean?
Go on. Tell me how nuts you are about me. Give me that bunk about not being able to live without me.
Bunk?
Sure. Because right after you say it, you go back to your wife.
But Gloria, honey.
I've been doing a lot of thinking, John. There don't seem to be much future in it.
Future? In what?
You.
You don't mean...
How long do we go on this way until I'm old, until you kick off and leave her your insurance?
Is that all you're thinking about? Insurance?
Oh, Harry, look at it my way for a change. She's got the security. I got the romance, but in the end, she gets the last laugh.
Yes, maybe you're right, Gloria. You do have a right to think of yourself.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
You know Louise won't give me a divorce.
So what am I supposed to do? Take the rap?
No. I'm not taking any raps. Gloria, I've made up my mind. We're going away.
On what?
I'll have money.
Your wife banks every nickel you earn in her name. You don't earn much anyway.
Well, I have another source.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I can get hold of $1,500, Gloria. It's a good start.
Oh, it's a good start. It's even a swell thing.
Well, we'll leave town. We'll never come back. Just you and I.
Well, Well, what about your job?
I'm sick of my job, and I'm sick of that old fool Roberts.
I don't blame you. Skim's only raised you once in the last 5 years. Isn't that what you told
Yeah,
me?
that's quite right. You know, he should have been a lecturer, not a broker. He's always given me good advice. I can find us up another stooge. I'm finished.
When do we leave, Sugar?
Tonight.
Tonight? When will you get the doll?
Tonight. They say the right man can take 40 years to acquire a superior intelligence, and the wrong woman can make a fool of him in 40 minutes. John Littlefield was no exception to this rule. He had the key to the office, and he had the combination of the safe. The rest was easy, or so he thought. 4 versus 12, back to 1, to 2. Ah, my nose. $1,550 bills. What?
John! What are you doing here?
I just returned it.
You opened the safe. That money, you wanted to steal it.
Get out of my way, Mr. Roberts.
Oh, John, you fool. Did you really think you could get away with this? Don't you know how obvious it would have been?
Why'd you have to come back?
I'd forgotten something. Sorry, now I did. I would have preferred you to get away with it, John, than to get you red-handed.
Get out of the way. Put that phone down.
John!
Put it down. You...
Come on, let go of me. Let go, you idiot. Let go.
All right, get up and keep quiet. I don't want to hit you, but I will if you open your mouth. Go on, get up, I say. Mr. Roberts, get up. Mr. Roberts. What's the matter with you? Wait. Mr. Roberts, wake up. Mister. He's dead.
Who are you?
Hello, Luther. Don't you remember me?
Well, what do you know? John Littlefield. The boy most likely to succeed. Come in. If you are the last man in the world I have expected to see, John Littlefield.
Yes, it's been quite a few years.
I'll say it has. Say, how did you know where I lived?
Well, I saw your address in the papers when your case came out in the court.
Oh, that. They took away my license to practice, but who cares? I still know more about surgery than the whole stupid lot of them put together.
Well, apparently they believe that drunkenness is not exactly becoming to a surgeon, particularly when he has a scalpel in his hand.
I never liked medicine anyway. The hours are rotten. How about a drink?
No.
I don't have one.
No.
What?
I need you cold sober, Bixby.
You need me?
How you've been doing since you lost your license?
I get by?
Yeah, but not too well, I can see that. Bixby, you used to have a small private hospital in this place, didn't you?
What about it?
Do you still have enough equipment to perform an operation?
You forget it. I'm not a doctor anymore.
But do you have the equipment, Luther? Just tell me.
Oh, yeah, it's all here. I'm getting rid of some of this.
You need money, eh?
None of your business.
Yeah, but how'd you like to make $1,500, Luther?
What?
$1,500 in cash. Cold cash. I have it with me.
What do I have to do?
Pretty much just perform a little operation on me.
But I told you, I'm not allowed to practice.
That's why I'm here. I don't want anybody to know about this operation, but you.
Sit down.
Thanks.
What kind of an operation do you want me to perform?
You were quite well known for your technique in plastic surgery.
What about it?
I think you could change my face. You know, everything about me so that even my own wife wouldn't recognize me.
You crazy little fish.
Just answer my question, yes or no. I haven't got any time to argue.
Could be managed.
Yeah, good. Well, can you graft skin out of my fingertips?
To fool a fingerprint expert?
Maybe.
I could do that.
You're quite sure, Bixby? You're quite sure you could change me completely?
It would require a lot of work. I could cut the facial nerves and change the muscular appearance of your cheeks. If I extracted all your teeth and put in a couple of bridges, your mouth would be different.
Yeah, well, what else?
I could change the shape of your nose, give you a scar across one eyebrow.
Very good.
I would even change the expression of your eyes. You
Your hair could be dyed gray. I might give you a permanent bald spot on your head.
Yeah, good. That sounds perfect.
Yeah. I could change you, Littlefield, so you wouldn't even recognize yourself.
And would you do all this without asking any questions?
For $1,500?
Yeah, $1,500.
You'd be taking a chance. I have to work without a nurse.
I don't care. I'm used to taking chances.
You must be very anxious to avoid the police.
I said without asking any questions, Bixby. Tell me, is it a deal or isn't it?
We'll operate. Tonight.
Time, like everything else, is relative, according to our thoughts and surroundings. To a man who is happy in his work, it has wings. To a fugitive from justice, it barely moves. And 3 weeks of convalescence have made John Littlefield a very impatient man.
How do you feel, John?
For the love of heaven, when are you going to take these bandages off my face?
Well, let's see if we're ready. I think we are.
Yeah?
Yes, it looks like this.
Well, let's get them off.
Oh, wait. Let me do it.
Hurry up, for heaven's sake.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get quite a surprise, Littlefield.
Am I?
Well, you see yourself in the mirror.
You done a good job?
I've never done better. I've earned my money, too.
Yeah, all right.
Cooped up in this house with you for 3 weeks without a drink has been quite a trial.
Look, you can drink yourself to death after I leave.
Yes, no doubt I will. Here we are. Now, let's have a look at you.
Well?
Look in this mirror over here.
Hey, Bixby.
How do you like it?
Why, man, you were right. You know, it's even hard for me to recognize myself.
There are only 2 people in this world who will ever know who you are. The patient and his eminent surgeon. Now, I'd like to get paid.
I'm going to pay you, Bixby, but suppose we have a little drink first?
Oh, Dr. Bixby has never been known to refuse.
Okay, let me pour then, huh?
Oh, where did you find that bottle?
In your closet. I made certain to hide it from you until the job was done.
You're quite a character, Littlefield.
Yeah. Here we are. Drink up and have it straight.
Well, here's to a great future. For both of us.
Yeah, especially for you. Well, Bixby, what are your plans? Do you intend to blackmail me?
Oh, no, not really. That won't be necessary. You see, I expect you to voluntarily make a small donation every now and then, for old lang syne.
Yeah. Well, I hate to disappoint you.
Oh, don't let that bother you. What's the matter with me?
Having a little trouble, Bixby?
My eyes.
Yes, you had a little vial like poison on your shelf over there. I picked it up a few days ago for just this contingency. It was in your drink, Bixby.
No, you'll never get away with this.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, man. When the body of Dr. Bixby, the eminent surgeon, is found, the case will be listed as suicide.
No.
It'll be obvious that you killed yourself because of shame. Well. You said there are only 2 people in this world who'd ever know who I am, Bixby. You know something? Now there's only one.
Yes, John Littlefield had it all worked out. His timing, so to speak, was perfect. A few minutes later, he dropped his hat and his coat in the river. The coat contained an identification, his own. And from that instant onward, one John Littlefield ceased to exist. And then to make certain he'd be safe for the rest of his life, he made a bold and daring move.
Something I can do for you, mister?
Yes, you can. They told me downstairs that I'd find the chief of detectives here.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, good. Well, I was standing near the waterfront a little while ago, and I saw a man jump in. I'd have gone in after him myself to save him, but I can't swim, you see. There was nobody else around.
Did he go under?
Oh, yes, he did. But there was a top coat he'd taken off just before he jumped. I brought it along. Well, this is it here. And there's a name inside on the pocket. There you are.
John Littlefield.
Yeah, I can describe him for you. He was tall. I'd say about my height. He had dark hair and regular-looking features.
And we've been looking for that guy for weeks.
You have?
Yeah. His boss died less than a month ago.
Oh, fancy that.
A rich old guy named Robert. Heart attack. Then Littlefield disappeared.
Did you say heart attack?
Yep. Found him in his office in the middle of the night. Too much work. The old gent didn't know when to take it easy.
But look, why have you been looking for Littlefield?
Well, the old guy didn't have any family. He left Littlefield all his dough. Amounted to almost $500,000. Yeah. Then the lucky dope takes a powder with some dame. His wife told us. Hey, what's the matter with you?
Nothing, man.
I guess it got you when you saw him jump. Okay, sit down and take it easy for a while. Go on. I was in there to squad to start grappling for the body.
Wait a minute.
Hmm?
Well, you're not going to like this, but, well, I got to admit it was only a joke.
What?
I didn't see anybody jump at all. I'm John Littlefield.
You don't say.
I was Mr. Roberts' secretary. It's true I ran away because I was sick of my wife, but I'm back now. I'm back.
What do you take me for, mister? A cluck?
No, look, you've got to believe me. I gave you that story about seeing somebody jump from the river because I was...
Because you what?
Well,
Look, I got a picture of Littlefield right here in this drawer. Yeah, we got it from his wife. Now, just take a look, Sonny. Take a good look.
Yeah, well...
If you and this picture got anything in common, I'll eat it. Envelope and all.
But look, sir, you don't understand.
I understand enough to slap you in jail for fraud. I got half a mind to do it. You must be crazy to think you get away with something like this. Now get out of here, you cheap chiseler, before I really get started.
All right. Look, you don't believe me, but I'll prove who I am. I'm going to prove it if it's the last thing I do. Gloria.
Who are you?
I'm John, Gloria, John Littlefield.
You're crazy.
Look at me, Gloria. Look very closely. Don't you see? Can't you recognize me?
I've never seen you before in my life. Get out.
But you don't understand. Look, yeah, I know. I've changed my face. I look different, but I'm still John Littlefield. Gloria, you've got to believe me. My voice. Listen to my voice. Can't you?
Get out before I call the cops, you lunatic. Get out!
Time has a way of meting out justice, hasn't it? Listen, as the clock ticks on for John Littlefield.
Louise.
What are you doing in my apartment?
I'm your husband, Louise. I'm John Littlefield.
Get away from me.
Surely you can identify me. Look, you're my own wife. I know. I changed my face, but it doesn't change my identity. Louise, you got to see that, don't you?
I never saw you before in my life. You're not my husband. My husband is dead.
No, he's not dead. They only think I'm dead. How did I get the key to the apartment? You know what? I have it with me all the time. It's my key, that's why. And I'm your husband. Look, Louise, for heaven's sake, you've got to believe me.
You're crazy.
Look, listen to me very carefully. Now, if I can identify myself, we'll have $500,000. Robert's left it to me, Louise. To me, $500,000. It's enough to live like kings for the rest of our lives.
Oh, I see. Yes. Yes, I recognize you now. Of course, John. I know you.
No. Look, you're only saying that because you're afraid. You don't really believe me at all.
Look, just let me go.
Don't come near the phone.
Please, mister. I never didn't think of you. Leave me alone. I haven't got any money. Take whatever you want and leave me alone, please.
Should have known. Bixby did a good job, all right. If I can't convince you, who can I convince? Look, you remember me, Detective Henderson? Do you remember me?
Sure. You're the guy who said he was Littlefield.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I also said I could prove it to you, and I can identify myself.
Oh, now that's very interesting.
Yes, I can, yeah.
Well, matter of fact, we've been looking for you, mister.
You have?
Tell me about this identification you've got.
Yeah, well, in the excitement, you see, I forgot I even had it. But funny thing, it was on my finger all the time.
What was?
The ring, this onyx ring, you see it? I was a fool not to think about it before.
Let me see that.
There's an inscription in a band.
Yeah?
See, it's John Littlefield from Ralph Roberts. Mr. Roberts gave it me years ago. He's very fond of me. That's why I left me his money. I was very faithful to him. He liked me like a son. He wanted to repay me. Now, look at the ring, see?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Well, doesn't it convince you?
Sure. Of a lot of things. Come on.
What do you mean? Where are we going?
To the city morgue. There's something I'm going to show you. Over here, mister. And pick up that sheet.
No, I don't.
Go on. Pick it up. He's been dead for 3 weeks. The coroner figured he was slugged and pushed into the river just about the time you told me you saw him fall in.
Oh, no.
It isn't easy to recognize his face, is it?
Oh, that's horrible.
That's what water does to a body after a while. We found him in that shirt and those shorts he's wearing. But we also found his coat and hat in another part of the river. With identification cards.
You mean?
There's Littlefield, mister. You took his ring and his wallet. And took his cashing on his inheritance, too. Why, of all the crusty schemes I ever heard of, this one takes the cake.
How can you be sure it's Littlefield? Why do you identify a clerk you never saw before and then call me a liar?
His wife identified him, mister.
His wife?
Sure. And if you think she's going to change her mind, you're deafier than I figured. Not when she comes into that $500,000 Littlefield got from his boss.
That's impossible. No. I don't believe it. You're trying to fool me.
You'll believe it, mister.
No,
when you get the chair for the
money
murder of John Littlefield.
Everybody's trying to get the money. I won't let them have it. I want the money. I want to keep it. It's mine. It's mine.
And that's the story of Mr. Littlefield as recorded by the clock. Rather ironic, isn't it? Imagine being convicted for the murder of yourself. But then, justice has its own peculiar way of balancing the scales, and always in good time, those scales mete out their just and logical punishment. Well, I see my time is nearly up and I must hurry off. I'll be seeing you again even sooner than you think. On the mantelpiece, perhaps, or I may look down on you Sunday morning from the steeple of the church. In any case, when we meet again, you can rest assured for one thing, I'll be right on time.
The Clock will be heard again next week, same time, same station. Written by Lawrence Klee and starring Hart Maguire as the Clock. You heard Joe McCormick as John Littlefield, Ken Wayne as Dr. Bixby, Frank Waters as Robert, Georgie Sterling as Gloria, Pat Martin as Louise, and Grant Taylor as Detective Henderson. The Clock is directed by John Saul, a Grace Gibson radio production.